Hello and welcome to the Stoppage Time Penalty Show with myself, Tabrice, one of the best grassroots centre backs you'll ever see, and officially the second best content creator for non-league independently. So that's something that I'm really proud of. If you love football, if you love grassroots Sunday league, if you just love just in football in like general, please click the like, subscribe and share, please. So let me kind of go over in terms of who will be on today's show. So we have Mark Wilson from Wanderers FC. Mark and I go back a long way. I don't want to talk too much, but we've kind of had some really fierce matches as kind of opposition. But again, he will literally be on the show to kind of literally talk about Wanderers, talk about his journey as well. And we'll just kind of talk about football really. It's going to be a great conversation. We have Justin Prince, founder of South Tampa, based all the way in the States. And we'll be just talking about how Grassroots, compares to the UK, what, Justin thinks of the Grassroots scene here. And again, it's going to be a very honest and open chat, really. And, this is something that I cannot wait to actually, again, cut some shapes. And as you can see, it's just me at this present moment in time. My panelists will be kind of coming on, but you know what? Oh, we have Coach Barry on. Let me get Coach Barry on. Coach Barry, how are you doing, sir?
Good evening to Breeze. Good evening, everyone listening and watching. I'm fine, to Breeze. Promoting independent, promoting. Independent hats and logo and everything.
No,
we've got a brand now, to Breeze. We've got to brand it out there.
I like that. I like that.
How are you? How are you in the family, to Breeze? Good?
I can't complain. Just again, Sunday, it's a step closer to like Christmas. So it's kind of more eating, more and just more of drinking. But of course, all above board. But no, everyone's good.
Save it to Breeze. I think we've got a game or two left.
Yes. Well, I mean, we can also have like the vets segment as well, which we will be talking about.
Yeah.
But,
cool.
But cool. Well, you know what? Let me not delay this anymore. I want to thank our first guest, and he's been patiently waiting. He was actually here 8 o'clock I think it was before 8 actually. I'm not going to introduce him, but again, I've probably known this in person for probably just less than a year, but we've had only a couple of interactions. But in terms of what he's doing for grassroots football is very, very refreshing. So anyway, without further ado, I would like to introduce John Eager from the Barnet Sunday League onto the show.
Hello,
John,
mate.
How you doing, sir?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good evening, John.
Hello, how you doing, Barry? You all right?
I'm good. Hope you're good too.
Good
I
stuff.
was all right, mate. You should have seen some of the photos this guy was going to use of me when hair was all over the place a lot. Do you know what I mean?
We know to Breeze already. I know
it. Oh, John. Honestly, John, thank you for coming onto the show.
Thanks for having me.
Could you please tell the people out there exactly what you do?
So at present, I'm the league secretary of the Barnet Sunday League, and I'm a big part of the Barnet League committee. I also play occasionally and manage a team within the Barnet League. Been involved in the Barnet League for about 10 years now. Been on the committee for about 4. That's like a brief overview of what I do now. Obviously, I think we're going to talk about how I got to this point over the course of the next half an hour or whatever. So, that's what I'm up to at the minute.
Cool. And how we met, we like met at the, I think it was a final at the Seventh Sunday were like
Yeah,
hosting.
exactly.
And like the first thing that kind of struck me like about you was how open you were, and of course as a kind of committee member, how like much you literally embraced social media. Could you kind of talk us through like the whole kind of Barnet League setup and kind of literally what like you want to bring to to the Barnet League?
Well, more of the same, really. So, and a bit about myself. Initially, I just got involved with the Barnet League to do the social media. I was managing a team in like one of the lower divisions, and could kind of see nothing was really being done with it. And then someone put my name forward. I spoke to the chairman, Dave Cross, and league secretary at the time, Alex Clayton, and yeah, just sort of got involved in the social media aspect, and from there started having an active presence on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that kind of stuff. So more of the same, really, just sort of increasing the social media awareness of the league, which in essence helps it grow. You know, nothing can really grow nowadays without social media being at the forefront, and I sort of identified that very early on. I mean, we had 4 divisions when I joined the committee as social media secretary, I think it was, and then we're at like 8 divisions now, I think. So it's like gone from 33 teams to 73 this season. So more or less doubled in size.
Yeah.
And that's 2018-19. To be precise, I joined in February 2019. So yeah, four seasons, but 3 and a bit, if you're doing it in time, 3 and a bit years on the actual committee.
Wow, amazing. And like, I've kind of been on this like show, and I've not been, I don't think I've been harsh on like certain football leagues, but for like me, especially when information is so readily available, there are still some leagues that literally just do not communicate well to like teams, to like players, and it's kind of so hard to actually get anything back from like certain committee members. Why do you think that's the case?
I mean, look, it's an education piece. I mean, we do a lot of our correspondence via WhatsApp. So we've got a divisional group for each division where they text in the results and share like videos of goals or photos or anything they want posted. Then we've got like a club admin group where we like put out general correspondence about postponements or AGMs or whatever. I mean, it's a catch-22 really, because then once you become that level of accessible, you like your phone's popping off constantly. This issue, that issue, which does eat into a lot of time. Whereas I think if you keep it, you've got to find the right balance, is what I'm trying to say, between emailing and having that sort of open communication, because some of the stuff that I get WhatsApp about is like, do you think the pitches are going to be playable tomorrow? And I actually had to turn around and put a message in the club admin group and being like, I'm not a weatherman. I don't know. Like, you're going to have to turn up like you normally would and check. But I think it's just that education piece. I mean, it's certainly about the old guard and the new guard coming together, because there's a massive crossover with those people on committees that have been there for years and done their dues and sustained the league. And they've got to be open to new people wanting to come in and push the league forward in newer ways, I suppose, progress it forwards into the future.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
Coach Barry would love to get your question or comments.
Yeah, it's great what you're doing, John, but you said you've doubled in size. The league has doubled in size. So that means the amount of work you must be doing now, and how do you decide for each club what goes on, what doesn't go on? It must cause some controversy, because you know what social media is like already. Some clubs might think you put that on, we don't like you putting that on, or some clubs are saying, yeah, you know what I mean? How is the fairness? How does it work that way with what you decide to put on the social media?
I mean, we just sort of, I mean, if you want to engage in it, you engage in it. So if you are your old school team that just wants to, go out on a Saturday night with your mates and turn up and have a few drinks and play football, You don't have to send in videos or photos or anything like that. All you've got to do is follow the league rules and update you full time and ensure you're within the league rules. But if you want your games filmed or your game photos taken at your game, then have that done. And it's about getting the balance right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, John, do you have a team? You can't be just you doing so much work. Do you have a team? What goes through? It's too much. You can't be just you. It's way too much. I'll be honest with
you. Yeah, I'm certainly not a one-man team. We're going through a transition period at the minute where we've had, I don't know, 4 or 5 experienced committee members leave this year.
Yeah.
And some people have come in, and they're certainly a workload. But I think you'll find that the less people on the committee, although there's more work, because there's not so much like sort of conflict, I suppose, difference of opinions.
Yeah.
It's easier to run things. So you could have 8 divisions and have 20 volunteers, but it's too many opinions, really.
Yeah.
But if you've got 8 divisions and 6 or 7 volunteers, you're doing more work, but there's not as much work because there's not as much conflict and debate. If that makes sense. And I'm not saying debate isn't good, but to a certain point, I suppose.
So John, who decides actually what goes on? Because you're the social media, but it is actually the committee's league. So who decides what goes up, what doesn't go up? Is there any conflict that way? You might want something to go up, and they say we don't want that going up under our name. How is that decided? What goes up? What goes? Do you understand where I'm going there?
Yeah, I understand where you come from. I've not encountered in 4 years of being on the committee. I've never once run a post on Instagram or apart from the COVID sort of stuff last year, throughout lockdowns and that. I've never really had to run anything past people. People have allowed me to get on with what I'm good at. I think it's that identification piece of recognizing what people are good at, sort of going from there. And sort of not leaving people to their own devices, because we're all accountable, but sort of just letting people get on with their jobs, really. At the end of the day, we're all elected to AGM. I was elected in to do social media and as the league secretary, so to sort of leave me to do the job I've been chosen to do by the clubs, which is great in a way. People just sort of trust you to do your job.
So with the Barnet League, and of course, there's always a debate in terms of which league is the strongest. Of course, people say Alberton, Bromley. A lot of people, that's probably, I'd say, the most well-known league. You have the Met League, you have the Seventh Sunday. In your opinion, where does the Barnet League stand with the other leagues around?
Look, listen, if you're basing it on trophies, we're down in the pecking order. Like, I don't think any of our teams has won the London Cup in the last, well, not since I've been here, that's for sure. But then if you look at the Middlesex Cup, Takers won it last year. We've been relatively successful in that sort of county cup. But I certainly back us to be the one of the top 5. I mean, I know there's not that many in London when you're going for that sort of, looking at that sort of top tier of league. But I'll back our Premier Division to take on anyone. I mean, obviously I've got associations with Highgate that recently they've beaten Kenningwell.
The Wall,
obviously, giving Lambeth a good game, took them to penalties the other week.
Yeah.
You beat the Wall as well.
Yeah, the Wall. I mean, Oakwood have obviously beat Kamazi. I mean, it's anyone's day in the cup. It's not like we're all in. It's not like it's the London League and we're all in one division where week in, week out you're testing yourself. And I think when you look at the London Cup, it's, rightfully so, it's the biggest cup in London, and we're a London affiliated league. It's about getting your best team out on the day in a cup, which can happen to anyone. It can. So I mean, in answer to your question, I back anyone in our Premier Division to give anyone a game.
Fair enough.
Tabrice, this is Tabrice and John. I'm amazed. How do you guys find the time? because you lot play, you manage your coach, you're doing social media. How do you fit it all into your daily and weekly schedules? How do you fit it all in and do such a good job doing it as well? I'm amazed at how you do. How do you get all of it in? How?
I'll let you go with this one first, mate.
Wow. You know what? It's I don't do nothing else. I mean,
yeah, but you got your family and your work as well to do. So how do you?
You know what? I think what it is, there's not a lot of stuff that I know how to do naturally, and it's probably only going to be driving and football. That's I think that's the only thing that I know how to do naturally, and through like my ups and downs in my life, like football has always been there. Yes, of course I kind of had aspirations to like turn pro, and like this, I don't see this as work. I love what I do. I'm like passionate about video. I'm kind of passionate about grassroots. I'm passionate about competition, and I will always make time. I mean, there's when like people are talking about Game of Thrones, I've not watched a single I've not watched a single episode of Game of Thrones. I have no idea who's who, because again, I would rather spend that 2-3 hours actually editing or like literally doing something about football or kind of literally creating content. Yes, it is difficult, but again, I just love what I do, and I'm in a very lucky situation. Yes, I'm still able to play. So, and again, I still think I've got an eye to actually record a game or two. So again, I can kind of kill two birds with like one stone. So I don't find it that difficult, but like maybe other family members may see it differently. John.
Yeah, I mean, look, listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a great footballer in the slightest, as I'm constantly reminded by my friends and God knows who else. Look, listen, I'm into football because it's a big passion of mine. And I would honestly say, if you put it on a percentage piece, 80% of my friendship group are through football. So for me, I mean, it's not about having the time. In answer to your question, Barry, it's about making the time. I think I've never been a big believer in this. Oh, I'm too busy or I'm too this. I think if you want to make the time, you can message your friends, or you can do this or you can do that. So for me, it's just a part of my day now. Usually, a quick Instagram post for the Barnet League or Twitter post done. It's done in 2 minutes. Dealing with referee appointments and or fixture clashes and stuff, that's another matter. That takes a few hours. But in answer to it, like I've got 2 kids, a family, a missus, I manage, I play, and I do the committee. I just find the time because I enjoy it. And more recently, I've like qualified as a ref as well. So sometimes because of the
Jesus,
wow,
yeah, so because of the short, like last week, I refereed a 10:30 game. And then went and played the first half. Like I started because I was warm and everyone else was freezing. Played 45 minutes. Should have been man of the match. And honestly, I had to come off because my legs were so heavy. Like I was knackered. So yeah, I think if you're passionate about something, look, I could sit on here and I mean, Hashtag did a 24-hour football match or whatever a few weeks ago. I could do a 24-hour stint, just me and Tabrice. Do you know what I mean? I could easily talk about grassroots football and the Barnet League, and it's addictive, right? Because it's got to a certain point now. We'd in the history of the Barnet League, going back to 1966, they'd only ever had a maximum of, I think it was 5 divisions. Prem 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at 8 now. So since last year, we're in growth for the first time since, I mean, the 5th division went in 1989 or something like that, and then we went down to 4 divisions when I first started playing in 2011-12. So it's addictive. You want to keep improving and keep enhancing the matchday experience. That's why as a Barnet League, we film games, we send photographers down if teams want it, and we engage, we comment on Instagram posts, retweet stuff. So yeah, I mean, I enjoy what I do. I'm obviously good at it. When we last spoke to Brees, I was up for election at the AGM, like happens every year. I got elected in against the other person that was running against me. So it's all, yeah. I mean, I enjoy it.
I understand what you're saying, John. I was just wondering because like you said, you've got your family, you've got your wives. So your wives must be really understanding, or are they part of your? Do they take part in helping you? So Brees is doing that thing.
No, you know what? To be,
They must help.
you know, it's about to throw something in my face.
Look, see.
No, you know.
But for Brees,
That's what I'm talking about.
They're very understanding. Like I'll give.
They are.
I've honestly,
they're overstanding. You mean?
I've been out on date night before and I've taken a message or a call from a club because the
oh no,
and there's an issue for the Sunday. Like to Brees, my missus is away in the bedroom with my son, but I mean, I used to say to her, it's only Sundays, and she'd be like, but it's not only Sundays. It's the messaging in the week. And it's the team.
Quiet, please, because my missus is looking straight at me.
and it's honestly, mate, people go on about grassroots volunteers. It's got to come to a stage where there's got to be a bit of give and take, because there is a lot that goes into it, and there ain't a lot of reward. There's a lot of politics, which I've dealt with more in the last year than I ever have in any working relationship. You've got to imagine, you've got, especially with COVID, right? The PPG null and void thing, and whether or not cups were going to be played and all sorts. People have got their opinions and whatnot, and obviously naturally you're going to clash over that. But I found, especially in the last 18 months or so, it's gone beyond volunteering. At one point on my side, it got personal, right? I don't want to go into too much details because I want to keep this positive, and it wasn't a nice experience, but you know, it's the old adjective, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I've come through the other side. The 4 years I've been on the committee, I had Dave Cross, the chairman, and Alex Clayton, the secretary, that brought me in. Then I had great support from Lauren, who was vice chair and interim chair when Dave stepped down. And then we had another chair. And now we've stabilized a little bit. We've got a new chairman. So there's been a lot of change in the 44 years I've been on there. There's only me and one other committee member still left. So I think it's just, I may do a lot of the work, but other people certainly play their part. But I take on more than I should do. I'm constantly being told, take a back seat, delegate to someone else. But I like to be involved and I like to do it.
John, are you on all the platforms? Twitter, Instagram, everything? Are you on?
My Twitter's open. It's John Eager 93. My Instagram, to be fair, to Brees has got me. To be fair, no one wants that.
Is the league on it as well? He's buying it on them platform.
Me personally and the league are on all the platforms. Yeah, I said
okay, brilliant.
We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. The handle for Instagram is Barnet Sunday League, and Facebook, and the Twitter handle is just Barnet League. Obviously, for OCD purposes, I wish it was all the same, but you can't fit Sunday in between Barnet and League, which is a bit frustrating. Well, you've got the same problem, to Brees, right? You can be amateur footballer on one, but you've got to be the AM footballer on the other, I believe. So
100%.
From a branding perspective, we've got cup final winners banners and league winners banners and stuff like that for the teams to hold up in the last couple of years and stuff, which is, it's taken us a long way. So I mean, we're everywhere. I mean, I would put our Instagram up there on the best about. Twitter, we've got a long way to go, because in North London, our teams aren't really as Twitter crazy as they are elsewhere. They don't really engage and have that sort of banterous rivalry that other teams have, where they're calling each other out and stuff. So none of our teams are really on Twitter, but we do a lot of stuff on Instagram, and obviously Instagram links to Facebook. If you just post, that's easily done. So I mean, obviously, there's a lot of positives from social media, man. I mean, look, if I was to break it down by rough stats, 2018-19, I joined the committee. The following year, we had, I think it was 17 applications. The next year, I was told by someone at London FA at the time it was the most in one season. We took on 32 teams. This year we took on another 16. And I think one of you touched upon it earlier. Like, one thing I would advise any league out there is best practice. There's stuff that the Hearts Advertiser League do that is unbelievable, like the goal of the month stuff. The Southern Sunday, I've picked up a lot of tips off of the likes of Graham. Like, we renamed our second division the Championship Division because, like, Southern Sunday done it, and it just works. They're your top two divisions at the end of the day. They should be almost the caliber of semi-pro Saturdays, where you've got teams that really can go at it and have a good competition. But it's I think that's a major part, man. Listening, taking on board what other people do, and spotting the positives, and leaning on people for advice. I'm the first to call someone up and say, "What do you think I should do about this?" and go from there.
Well, amazing. John, you know what? We could literally talk for like another 2-3 hours. But honestly, thank you.
I'm at the end of my slot, yeah.
Yeah, you actually at the end of stop. But before you go, can you please just repeat where, you know, if there's any players out there that are looking to join a league up north, and any teams as well?
I would say the best thing to do if you're looking for a team, if you're looking to enter a team for the next season or play in the league.
John, you should say, what's your catchment area? What kind of area do you cover?
Well, so we're the biggest league in North London. So there's only four leagues now in the whole of North London. The other three have only got 2 divisions each. We've got 8. But we cover Hendon, Barnet, Enfield, Haringey, a bit of Hertfordshire, like Cheshunt and places like that. So yeah, we've got quite a big catchment area. We've got we're quite lucky as well. Most of our referees are quite happy to travel. A big thing for us this year was doing afternoon kickoffs, so that some teams can we've been able to be flexible and double up with refs, so that 2 of our new divisions are strictly afternoon kickoffs. Because we knew of the referee shortage. But yeah, if you're looking for a team to play, or to, you know, even if you want to have a throw at managing or whatever, the Barnet League Instagram is the best thing to get at. If not, my email's on the website, but I think it's secretary at Barnet Sunday Football League or barnetsundayleague.co.uk is the best email to get at, or DM the Instagram page. But lastly, before I go, listen, I think the most important thing as a volunteer to highlight is I've been here 4 years, right? This league's been going since 1966. Any committee member, as much as we love it, we're just custodians. We're here to do a good enough job in the time we're here, be it a year or 10 years, and then leave it in a good enough place so that the future committee members, players, managers, clubs can, you know, carry on doing great things in the league. And I think it's important to identify that, because without the clubs, the 73 teams we've got, I don't have a job. I don't do what I love. So kudos to them turning up week in, week out, especially in weather like it's been lately, in, you know, playing football. And a big thanks to our referees that get out there week in, week out, and obviously my colleagues on the committee. You know, I'm supported by a great bunch of people, from the chairman, vice chair, the fixtures, registrations. Everyone plays their part in making the Barnet League the special place it is. So I just wanted to throw that in there. It's been lovely talking to you guys, but you know, without all of the people that I've just mentioned, and especially the teams, there is no John Eager, League Secretary of the Barnet League. So yeah, I hope that's enough, guys.
No, that's perfect.
No, brilliant, John. Brilliant.
And hopefully you kind of like what I'm doing as well.
Yeah, I told you when we met at the cup final. Look, I've big respect for your work, and what you do for the grassroots community. I mean, you always find time. I tag you in most things. You always comment, you know, and it's something, because it can be something as simple as a clapping emoji or a fire emoji. It doesn't need to be a paragraph of interaction. Sometimes just a little like or a comment, it goes a long way in building things up, you know, getting the trajectory and the rest of it to make everything else fall in line.
John,
traction.
John, you didn't mention what position do you play?
Oh, mate, listen. I'm a Gary Neville. I thought I was a winger, but I'm just a right back.
Are you a defender? You're a defender to bring.
I mean, I've got a better management record than I have as a player. So, just blowing my own trumpet. Yeah. I've won one of the lower Middlesex Cups, which is still a Middlesex Cup.
You've won. It doesn't matter. You've won.
Yeah, you've won.
The year of COVID, we were in 3 finals, unbeaten in the league, all null and void. Last year, got to a cup final and lost. Was meant to be giving it up, but decided to come back this year to have one last crack at it, because no one wants to finish their management career on losing a cup final. So yeah, I mean, I'm a right back. Every game I've played this year, I've played centre back though. So
okay, brilliant. And have you seen John? Have you seen Tabrice play? He was out to that.
Mate, he's unbelievable. He's like he's like a B-Tech Titus Bramble. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you, John. Thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, John, yeah, we will kind of definitely speak soon. And honestly, kind of keep doing all of that, the brilliant stuff that you're doing for.
No, I appreciate that, man. And
for North London, for Barnet, but also for Grassroots football. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And lastly, from me, I will say that any people like myself that are of a certain age that are joining committees and feeling like that they can't force change straight away. It's a slow process. Hang in there. There's a couple of people I know on the Hearts Advertiser Committee and a few other committees all over London and elsewhere where it might feel like you're not getting anywhere with it, but change does come. The clubs will buy into it. The old guard will buy into it, and sooner or later things will start moving. It didn't happen for me straight away. I was very fortunate that the sort of transition that's already started to happen, where a new and an old guard will come in together, and slowly but surely the people that wanted to get with the change that the club supported, because at the end of the day they vote you in, the ones that weren't on board with the direction the league were going in left, and the ones that were stayed. So that's my last bit of part and advice to any aspiring committee members out there, I suppose, is to just sort of stick with it. Your passion and your love for the game will win over, like it always does. Unless you're obviously a B-Tech Titus Brown.
You know what? That's what people, that's the only time when people actually want to comment. Like, it's kind of but the moment he said B-Tech Titus Bramble, then people are just actually in agreement. That's absolute liberties. John, honestly, thank you so much. And yeah, we will kind of definitely speak before the end of the year, and let's see if we can do something.
Yeah, definitely, 100%, mate. No, that'd be great.
Cool, nice one, brother.
Nice to meet you, Barry. Take care.
Oh, you're on mute.
He's off mute now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I said hope to see you soon back on the show, John.
Take care, mate. Thank you very much.
Take care, man.
Cheers, John.
Mr. Titus Bramble. I'll see you later.
Get lost. Oh, brilliant.
Joke, boy.
Absolute joker. We have
good geezer, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Barry
from the Ultimate Sports Network. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Great stuff. No, John, B-Tech Titus Bramble. That's taking.
We should get him on your network, Tabrice.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? I have all of John's contact details. And yeah, again, this is an opportunity to literally share knowledge, to actually share skills. And yeah, we can definitely need him around a lot more. And Barry has just gone. But anyway, hey, you know what? We are running a little bit late as per normal. Apologies. Okay, so my kind of next guest, and you know what? I think, my next guest can probably, hopefully, can vouch for me a little bit more than like a B-Tech Titus Bramble. Like, he has seen me play, but kind of also as well, we've had great games, and a lot of fiery games. But let me not talk too much, because this is kind of evoking a lot of emotions, and I'm kind of I don't know if I should actually bring him onto the show. because he's actually done me wrong like a couple of times. But hey, you know what? Oh, okay, I got to. Mark Wilson from Wanderers. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good.
Listen, I can't agree with the Titus Bramble comment. I'd say more like, I mean, to be fair to Titus Bramble, it wasn't as bad as everyone thinks, but I think you're more of a Micah Richards with that kind of demeanour.
Thank you. There you go.
But with that Nemanja Vidic kind of steel on the pitch, then others like,
there you go. I love it. That's what I'm saying.
I've got to say that, because otherwise he'll dig me out. But the good thing is, I'm always at the other end of the pitch, so I'm never up against you. So I'm just like, oh, you're from afar. From afar, he's good. So, yeah.
Oh dear. No, brilliant. Mark, honestly, thank you for kind of coming on and actually logging on a good 20 minutes before your slot. Thank you so much.
Do you know what? I'm trying to set the standards, because we've had a real problem with players turning up late. So, you know, I need to kind of lay down a marker. But yeah, no, it's good, because I just caught what John was saying. And a lot of it, I was there like nodding along, like, oh God, he's so right. It's like just pretty much everything he said and going, yeah, spot on. So it's good to hear. Oh,
brilliant. So, Matt, could you, literally introduce yourself to the audience, and like also the the team that you represent?
Yeah. So, I reformed Wanderers, who were the first FA Cup winners back in 2009. So I've been running that as the club secretary since then. Much like John, I'd say, and perhaps yourself, T, I've had a fairly colourful playing career. I mean, I didn't really get into football till I would say 13. So by then it's too late. You've got no aspirations to be anything other than the kid they put in the left back and go, yeah, go on, do your best, mate. So, I played, I'm thinking like where I played food clubs, played at Arkle Colts in Shropshire, if they're still going or not, played for AFC Crooner in the Camberley Sunday League, like all sorts. And then ended up at King's College Old Boys for a couple of years in the thirds, in the amateur football combination on Saturdays. And then found out all about Wanderers, set the club up, which was basically just a weekly kickabout and a few friendlies. In our first season, we were like 3 friendlies against Oxford University, because we were like, let's go and play teams that were in the FA Cup when Wanderers were in the FA Cup, and maybe that would be quite a good contest. So we thought we'd play in the Oxford University vets, and we had a little program, and they sent us a photo and all the vets team, and the kids that turned up, it was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So they destroyed us like 10-1 or 11-1 or something. And everybody was just buzzing. So I was like, well, if you're getting humped, but everyone's still got a really positive attitude, then this is great. It's really worth doing. So, we started off with a couple of friendly, sort of seasons, and then started into a league. And that's obviously when we faced down Norton in, Surrey South Eastern Combination Junior Division 4, which is not the catchiest title. You know what I mean? But it was great. It was classic. And, for me, because I didn't, there was a game which was 1-1, which was down in Balham somewhere. And I wasn't there for that, but I was there for the game, which I would never forget, which is a real, like, the decider. But I think it's maybe 3. Yeah,
Rains Park, wasn't it?
Yeah. So because we'd got a lad called Junior who was playing with you guys. It was our first ever transfer business, and he's finally paying that fee off now, because £5 was a killer.
I mean, we can kind of laugh about it now, but at the time, like, I hated Wanderers. They were just a fun, like, in the side, and literally that was literally when I was managing. So I would always try and study your results, and every single game that we played, it was a very competitive game. And very fiery at times. But the game at Rains Park was like, if that was recorded, that's a kind of definitely a kind of sit down at a round table type of conversation.
Dissect it. The 2 things that I remember really vividly are so not football related. Like, we had me and the chairman Jamie were going to get a lift.
The Bentley, yes.
So one of our players, Guy, he was he's a motoring journalist, and said, "Oh, I'll give you a lift." So we're like, "All right, we'll meet you out by Sainsbury's." He's picked us up, and and I was like, "What the hell is this?" So we're driving a Bentley Continental through, like, it must have been 6 figures, no problem, through got like Tooting High Street, right? About 5 miles an hour, nose to tail traffic. We're thinking, I tell you what, we better not be late. So he's pulled up right on the grass, wound the windows down, James Brown blaring out, and we've all piled out, and obviously carrying the kit bags. All right, guys. So it was a bit Billy Big Bollock to start with, and then we shipped that first goal we conceded was, I think our keeper came out to jump for it, like to claim it, and he just went straight over his head. I think your lads ran in and heads it in, and that's it. And we were like, oh Christ. So I think I can't remember what the result was, if I'm honest. It was either you guys won or it was a draw, but either way,
2-1 win.
Yeah, it kept you top. And what was most galling is that we only came second, I think, to you guys on goal difference, because one of the lads, we'd beaten Shaftesbury, who are now Oldham Woodonians. They'd forgot to send the team to the players' reg in, so we got docked the points. So it was a bit of a shame. But the other one that I loved, I think this is one of my favourite football stories, but for a Norton Wanderers contest, and you've got to have good contests, like good teams fighting it out at that level, or it's not fun. If you turn up, I mean, yes, I'd love to win 20-0 every week, but it gets boring, and you feel a bit sorry for the opposition. And equally, the opposite way around, you hate it. So it was a cup quarter-final.
Yeah, right. It was a semi-final. It was a semi-final.
Semi-final. That's right.
Semi-final. I know
and
exactly.
The kickoff kept changing. The location kept changing. We were like, we're Martini footballers. Any time, any place, anywhere, mate. You just make it happen. We'll be there. And it was a calamity.
Yeah.
My favourite bit, it was the fair result. But a part of that was actually me learning something about management myself. But my favourite bit is you had a lad called Drog. We didn't get
Drog. Listen, he was this guy.
Fantastic. What was he? Tell him what he was like. I mean,
literally, like he was like Didier Drogba. Like he was literally. He can almost like a spitting image. Big, strong, quick. He had everything. And literally, you had a centre back called Jack, I believe.
Yeah. And he had that game.
Yeah, and literally, I mean, honestly, I remember it as if it was yesterday. And it was, I think it was really, really windy. It was, and I chose to actually play with the wind. And literally, what I told my players was like, look, you know what? Wanderers are a very good passing team, and if we give them any space, we're gonna be in trouble. So you know what? Let's just park the bus. Literally, we just sat on the 18-yard box with the wind in our faces, and thought, you know what? You have to try and break us down, because I knew in the second half, with the wind and with Drogba, it'd be curtains, absolute curtains. I have never seen or witnessed a striker like that hasn't turned pro, that plays in that position. Like he was just something else.
Had it all, Yeah, and my favorite little moment in that game was because I think there were players that we had that played well that I didn't recognize as a coach, and I pulled off Robbie G, who was our captain, because he was having a stinker. But the reality was he was so important in terms of positional and just holding the shape of the team. But he was giving the ball away, so I took him off. And in essence, it opened up the midfield, and you guys obviously I think it was 5-3 or something.
Yeah,
So we had a guy called Hugues, right? Not Hugo, Hugues, right? He's French, and he was going at it. And bear in mind, he's a guy who had to sub off in the first game he played because he put someone in a headlock. And the Bulgarian ref went, "It is man's game." Like, so this geezer he's playing, and I think so. Drogba's come short to get the ball. Hugues gone bomb in behind it, like clattered him. Refs come over and just like giving a little wag of a finger and a look. And Drogba's turned around. I said to one of the other players in French, like, "Who the hell's this guy? What's he trying to play at? Someone's got to like get into him." And Hugo turns to me in French, goes, "What, you think I can't speak French?" And they're like, Drogba goes like, "You speak French?" He goes, "Yes, I have French." And they go, "Oh, no!" Like, what the hell? Like, well, that's really what we're about, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I'll kick 7 shades out of you, but once the whistle goes, we're best mates, and it's fine. You go and just chill out. So, like you talk about Jack, and I think he didn't get the memo on that because I think he was windmilling anybody off the pitch afterwards. It was just a disaster for him. But
no, crazy memories. Barry from Ultimate Sports Network would love to get a question or a comment for Mark.
Mark, I hear you're one of the oldest teams in the country. Is that right?
One of, yeah. I mean, it's always a tricky one because we were founded in 1859 as Forest, Epping Forest, But the club then, we're not sure why. It was either because there was a split in ideology, like the two brothers, Charles and John Alcock, who founded the club. So John Alcock wanted to be like Harlem Globetrotters. They pick all the best players and travel around playing anybody they wanted. Right. And then, so a bit like barbarians in rugby, right?
Yeah.
Whereas John was saying, no, we should buy the field we're playing in and make it a pitch and we'll stay here. But also John went through a divorce, which in the Victorian era was a little bit iffy. So I think they kind of fell out. So John kept the Forest name, but Charles took all the players, and he was elected secretary for Surrey Cricket Club. So he said, well, we'll just play at the Oval then. So they played at the Oval. And they were invited to be part of the FA when it was founded in 1863. So, really great history. Came with the idea of the FA Cup, won the FA Cup 5 times. Great. But at the time, the sport of football was really kind of becoming a bit more popular, right? Yeah. So the first final had like 2,000 fans. By the 1880s, a lot of the clubs in the north were illegally hiring Scottish people who were really good at football at the time to basically they'd go, we're going to give you a job in the factory, but you don't have to sign up for work. Just come down on Saturdays and play a game. So as this sort of development of the Football League in 1888, and prior to that, there was kind of the FA Cup became more more of a big deal, and so teams in the north got involved as well, and they were better because they developed a passing game because they had the space to do it, whereas the London teams were like, we'll give you the ball and you run and we'll just follow you. When you lose the ball, we'll tackle the guy, and it was very basic. So London teams weren't very good after a period of time when the northern teams started playing much better. So Wanderers folded in 1887, and I only really found out about it when I was playing 7-a-side in Kennington Park, and I took over that, and the guys there were running that I took over in February 2009, and our first game was in November. So in that time period, people have said, "Oh, let's get a team together. We're not bad." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." I mean, with zero, Saturday or Sunday league kind of knowledge, we're like, "Oh, we'll just start a team and away we go." But yeah, so I think we've got that, but there is obviously a massive gap between 1887 and 2009. So
right.
It's for us. The first thing I did, because I'm a bit of a kind of pragmatist, I was like, I don't want to start this club, and someone goes, "Oh, you owed that £1 to London FA." Right? That's the house one, right? So I spoke to the London FA, and they were like, "Yeah, no problem. You don't owe us any money. Crack on." I spoke to a lady called Karen Gunnell, who's the great granddaughter of John Alcock, and said, "Look, we want to do this, and we're doing it to raise money for UNICEF at the time. So is that fine with you?" She was like, "Yeah, you got the family's blessing." And her son, Jojo, basically played for us 3 or 4 times, I think. So we had like an official, Alcock player, if you like, playing for the club. So essentially, no one owns a copyright. The team, the only kind of evidence that the team really existed, other than the kind of old match records and stuff, is the engraving on the old FA Cup, which subsequently got nicked. So that doesn't even exist anymore. I think Toffs was selling a retro shirt, the sort of thick cotton kind of thing. So yeah, that was it. And so we basically there's no copyright or trademark issues. Everybody who we've talked to has said, yeah, I mean, take it as read that you guys are just a continuation of the original team. And it's not as if yes, you can see got the little stars and stuff. That side, there you go. But that's about it. We're not really. It doesn't really make any difference. I don't think people go, "Oh, I have to play for a team who's won something 150 years ago because that means they're good." Yeah. Otherwise, you'll be playing for Spurs, right? So.
Where are you based, Mark? Where are you based? Where you play out of?
Well, at the moment, so it's a bit of a shame, really, because we a couple of years ago, so 2019, we did a fundraising campaign to get our own ground. So we'd done a deal with Virgo Fidelis Catholic School in West Norwood, South Norwood, to renovate the pitch. So you've got junior goals and a junior pitch, and an adult pitch and adult goals, and this ball stop netting, and we put up the mega shed. It's like a little kiosk to sell stuff out. So on our first, we're basically selling. This is all legal, by the way. Selling alcoholic drinks to club members, selling shirts, selling chocolates and cokes and stuff like that. We must have made 300 quid in the first weekend. It was ridiculous. So we were like, this is an absolute money spinner. Brilliant. And I know it was like a kind of launch thing, but we thought, well, we've got somewhere that's ours. We can bring people in. We can start laying some roots, and so on. And then basically the Diocese of Southwark and Lambeth Council went, the school's crap, you got to close it down. So the school closed down and we were told you got to do one. So we've had to relocate back to Rains Park. So we're playing our home games at Prince George's there, which, as great as it is, and I think, Tony and the guys there are doing the best they can with the circumstances. We just need a home ground. We want to, despite the name, we would actually like to have, somewhere to call our own. And I'm trying to work that out at the moment. And, we were ground sharing with AFC Croydon Athletic a couple of years ago, which was really nice. There were nice people there that, can't speak anything other than highly of all of them. Aside from the fact they didn't water the pitch. And so it went from being beautiful to like corrugated metal. At the end of the season. But that's by the by. So, we were a bit disappointed we had to move, but they basically asked us to double the rent, and we were like, we can't justify that. So we stopped. We were going to play at Crystal Palace National Sports Centre, and then they said to us, "Oh, well, look, we know you're doing it for charities. We'll give you a good price." Which is, that's very fair. Came back to it. It's 250 quid plus VAT. We went, all right, okay, mate, forget it. What's your definition of a good price? So yeah, at the moment, I'm trying to find a home pitch for a long-term solution. So that's. So I don't know if you got it. Well, I don't know. I don't want to tell you this. All right.
Yeah, you tell us it, Mark. You tell us.
Little exclusive. So we've put an offer in for a ground called Seagas down in Bromley, Beckenham way.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, I bet some of you have actually played there. To be honest, it's been around a few years ago. It looks like the Marie Celeste, right? You go in there and the bar is stocked. It's got full of booze. All the pipes and stuff from the brewery are still there. You're like, well, if we mow the lawn, you could be up and running in a matter of months. So the owners are property developers, obviously, but there's a covenant. You can't use the pitches for anything other than specifically amateur football, cricket, or tennis. So they're basically trying to, as far as I understand it, they're just trying to wait for it to be so decrepit that you can't use it. So they can basically then say, you've got to go to the covenant now because, we want to flog it. The reality is, I know that
they're land banking, aren't they? They're just land banking.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So myself, our head coach, and the lady from the amateur FA, Sam, had a look around. We put in, an offer that was basically, we know what we can get for the pitches, so we will give you pitch hire maxed out. Like 2 games on each pitch because there's 2 pitches there. So you're basically in 8 games a weekend. You can have all that, right, at the current going rate, and then we'll give you a cut of the bar, so you get a percentage. So that way, you've got a secure income and you've got an optional income. And we obviously, the more we generate through the bar, the better it is for us, the better it is for them. Everyone wins. Yeah. And they said no. We said, okay, well, we'll raise the offer a little bit, and they still haven't come back to us. So, I know that there's us and the amateur FA together have tried to put an offer in, and we've got one of our ex/current players is been really, really helpful and supportive on that. And he's able to advise because he's got some really experience with running venues. And then separate, I think we've been told that the Orpington Bromley District Sunday Football League and the Kent FA are trying to put together a proposal. So, I think the big message is, and I've spoke to some of the local councillors, is like, look, there is a desire and a need for these kind of facilities. So for the owners to go, oh, well, no one wants to play there, is rubbish, absolute rubbish. If that was, I guarantee that whoever takes that on, if they do take it on and make it a sports pitch and make it football pitches, and we were saying we'd put a little cricket strip in the middle of the zoo pitches, so when it's summer you can play on it as well. They will make good money on it, and it's a real shame that we can't collectively. And I hear what John was saying earlier, and Barry's obviously leading with this as well in terms of creating a groundswell of people that can come together to benefit amateur football. And obviously Tabriz is the face of that, whether he likes it or not. Then that's how we gain a bit of success. And for us, we would like to do it because it's good for us as a club to put roots down so we can start developing the youth side of the club, and have somewhere that our men's teams can socialise and play and so on. But on a bigger picture, if those kind of facilities are getting lost, well, they're never coming back. So
True. Coach Barry, would love to get your question or comment.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised, Mark, that the FA and Sport England and stuff like that haven't come in? Do they know your story? Do they know nostalgia, the age of the club? They should be doing something to keep a club of your stature in, especially grassroots football. Be well known. Have you got your social? Have you been on social media? Have you put it all out there? You got to put it all out there. I'm sure people all over will be amazed by your story. There is places out there what you can have out there, especially after. I know a lot of places shut down after the first wave of pandemic. A lot of clubs went under. A lot of grounds have gone. So I know there's spaces out there. It all depends where you want to be based, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, you're absolutely right. There has been. We've seen, so many clubs, and our league's a good league.
Yeah,
we've been in it for 12 seasons, perhaps, and I think there's a lot of teams that have folded.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes it's down to facilities, like getting a pitch.
Yeah.
Other times just because they're badly run, and you can't really do a massive amount to help some clubs. Other clubs are trying their best, but still find it difficult, which is understandable.
Yeah.
For us, we want to be based in, if money was no object, Lambeth, Southwark, Wandsworth is our kind of catchment area.
Wow, that's difficult. Very difficult.
So that's why we're kind of out to Merton now. I live in Warlingham, and it's been an absolute touch for us because we're playing a load of teams. We played John Fisher Old Boys or Warlingham. So I've just walked to the ground for me. But I know that for most people, it's not that convenient. So we are trying to find somewhere. If it's Rains Park somewhere, that's fine. We'd be really, really happy. And there are clubs, because you look at the kind of the main clubs for us in terms of non-league. For example,
Mark, have you seen the land? Do you know where Fulham training ground is?
That's the same one. Yeah.
Across on the other side of the road.
Yeah,
there's all that spare land there. I know it used to belong. Property owners have had that for about 25 years. But it's been left barren for about 20 years. Have you approached them or asked them?
Because where Palace is, that used to be BBC Sports Ground, I think. And we spoke to them years and years ago. Actually, sorry, no, I tell a lie. That's Fulham took over. Palace was NatWest Sports Ground, I think. And then
Palace had Wimbledon extensions as well. They had train up there as well.
Yeah, and I think that's now owned by the FC Wimbledon, maybe, or someone, or probably it's probably developers. You're right, and then they're not allowed to build there for whatever reason. So, a lot of these, like I said, with land banking, loads of them are being held up by that.
That's wrong. That's so wrong.
Yeah, and there's nothing we can't do that because most non-league clubs don't have $500,000 in the bank, right? Unless you're Chelsea Rovers, maybe, but most teams don't have that kind of money to rely on. And the only way to get any progress in doing that is doing something collectively. So. When we went on tour actually to Krakow, and they've got a league there where the league goes, well, we're just going to buy this pitch or a long-term, a 25-year lease, and every single game is there. And they had like every weekend there would be, they would say we do Saturdays and Sundays, so you guys can organise it to fit your schedules. But you'd have 3 games back to back on a Saturday, 3 games back to back on a Sunday, and they would have a kickoff at let's say it was 11-1 and 3. And teams would turn up before their game to watch the other games, and you get a little bit of atmosphere going.
Yeah,
they had a bar and change rooms, and I'm just thinking, well, if you've got the wherewithal and you've got the volume of teams to say, okay, a league might have 10 grand in the bank, 15 grand in the bank, whatever, and if every club chips in another 1,000, you're like, well, hold on, now we've got a large amount of money to put down as a long-term deposit or investment, whatever. And that places like the Football Foundations and Sport England you've talked about, would invest. And for us, we work on putting our message out as a club because you want to recruit. We've got a supporters club of over 100 people. We've got really big exposure on social media compared to teams at our level. There are teams that semi-pro teams, maybe teams at the kind of National League level who would love our kind of exposure. But it's then converting that visibility into a conversation that goes back to a location. So. But again, that's kind of my job. I'll let the players play and the coaches coach, and I'll crack on with the backdoor stuff. Sort of.
But Mark,
that's what I mean.
Mark, you're going to make if you get the ground, put down a ground, and you put down a floodlit 4G, you'll make back so much. You'll make money 7 days a week, all night, all day, all night.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, you're right.
That's what they do abroad. When I was in Belgium, every club had a floodlit 4G, which was. That was turning over so much money. It was running the whole club.
But you know what's good? Actually, in Belgium and Netherlands, what I think, because I did a school tournament over there with the school I was working at, and what's interesting is like the local town will go, well, we're going to buy it, we're going to do it ourselves. The council will do it out of council tax, because it is a real asset to the community, you know. And you have people coming in from that local area, socializing with their friends. They're not all players and coaches. Some of it's just there to have a good time. So you know, if you've got that stability, and your parents, let's say, and you drop your kids off, you kind of know, well, okay, I know it's going to be safe. I know it's well run. I know some of the people who actually volunteer there. Great. You know, if you don't have, it's like you can't necessarily rely on that in the UK. You know. So.
Yeah, very true. And Mark, you can also have a ladies team. Could you kind of tell us more about that?
Yeah. So I mean, the women's team's interesting. So when we myself and Steve Bradley, who's one of our kind of oldest players, both literally and you know, we were like, oh, we want to women's team because we'd like to kind of expand. And so we spoke. I think we just put a message out to South London Women's FC, and one of their coaches said, yeah, let's have a conversation. And for their B team, she was running it, and they put a new coach in who was running both teams. And so rather than it going to be collaborative, their A's and B's, the A coach went, here's the cones, off you go, put them up. I'm going to train everyone. So she got a nose out of joint, wasn't really happy with it, and so said, well, sod it, let's leave. So we met in the sun in Clapham, and we're chatting to them and a bunch of the players, and they liked what we had to say, because we said, look, we want you on board. You can run it independently. We'll do all the kind of high level admin, so you haven't got to worry about insurance, affiliation, you know, all that kind of stuff. We'll deal with that. And they got on board, and it was quite fun actually, because we didn't really officially get them on board until after our first summer tour. We went on tour to Bucharest. No, sorry, it was Sofia in Bulgaria, and we're on this plane, and we didn't realise all the girls were on the same plane. So we're all on this, you know, EasyJet or whatever it is, off we go. And on the same flight was another football team, and it was back in the days when it was like 50p a pint. And they knew it, and they were on it. You know, the little bullseye baggies, they're like, you cut the thing off and drink like a shot of some rubbish thing. So they're going bonkers on this flight. We're there going, oh my God, this is how embarrassing. You know, come on, we're a little bit more classy, in the sense that some of the guys brought a poker mat to put over the 2 fold down seats and play a game on it. So you're like, okay. Anyway, we come off, and we're at the baggage carousel, and there's all these girls there, and they're going, oh God, I hope those guys aren't the Wanderers, Jesus. And they will pile out in, like, you know, stag do gear, off they go. And they see it, they look at it going, all right, and they look at us, and we're there doing the same, like, bloody hell. And they're like, oh, you guys Wanderers? Like, yes. Like, okay, brilliant. So we basically kind of met up in Sofia, and we've done international tours ever since, and we had them playing in the London Ladies Friendly League, which was brilliant, and that was really well run. And then it kind of, I think it hit the skids a little bit. So it folded. But before it folded, we'd moved them into the Greater London Women's Football League, which went from playing on a Saturday on Clapham Common, terrible facilities, bit of fun, to being actually quite competitive on a Sunday against teams that were from Charlton, Millwall, Brentford, that kind of level. And getting a shoe, like proper getting a shoe in. You know, you're like, okay, we're playing Sutton United reserves. We're going to lose 12-0. So what? And we had some really bad times, but our coach was the girl who was in charge moved up northeast, and the new coach came in and was brilliant. He changed it all around, a lot more competitive, a lot more professional. Some of the women that were there didn't really like it, because they were like, I don't want it to be competitive. I'm enjoying myself, and now it's like you're not getting pictures of good enough. Not, oh, well, I'm available. Can I get in? You know, so that was a bit of a shame, because we lost some of the players because of that change in approach, but they did really well. You know, like some of the guys were saying about the kind of pre actually it was John saying about pre-COVID, how he was like undefeated and all that, and the league got null and voided. Our guys, it was the same. They were flying, and we had a striker who was ex-Tottenham, who was banging goals in fun, then moved to Canada. We had another striker who went a couple of levels higher, so that was fantastic. But then once one of the issues again, which I go back to what John was saying about having a committee being too big. They had a big committee meeting, so what should we do? And they decided to have the meeting in Clapham in a pub. So all the players who wanted to play on Saturdays in Clapham were like, well, I'll go and I'll vote to a team in that friendly league. And everyone who was like, well, I know I want to play football competitively. We're like, well, I'm not going to go all the way to Clapham to sit in the pub and have a vote because I'm not interested. So it kind of fragmented, and we ended up losing a bunch of players again, and some old players came back, and it was a bit of a mess. And then they joined the Clapham Women's Football League, which is interesting because the guys that run it run a bunch of teams in the league as well. So any inquiries they get about new players coincidentally play for those teams. So it's really hard to recruit. But we've got our new coach is our ex-player and sponsor, Flo Saunier, who's done wonders. You know, he started off with 4 people at training, and he's now got squads of 14 turning out every week. So, every month, because they have a monthly game, which is brilliant. I mean, it's turned it around, and I think we're really on the up and up again. So I'm really pleased that we've done so much. And I think, you know, probably a couple of years after the kind of the classic, the golden age of the Norton Wanderers rivalry, we went through a 12-month period where we lost 41 players. And you think most teams would just jack it in, but we have a bit of a double-edged sword in that we get a lot of players inquiring and coming on board. They're not always sticking around. You know, we've had over 50 nationalities represented, but they're not. It's quite transient, and I think that's partly because we've got a good reputation, good visibility. But you know, you don't always satisfy everything for everyone, and everyone's got different things going on. So, but yeah, no. So like the women's team has been really, really good, and I'm really happy with where we are with that at the moment.
Yeah, cool, amazing. And before we go, could you please give everyone out there your contact details, social media handles?
Yeah, well, we're currently doing a lot of recruitment. We need a centre back for our ones, and we need a goalkeeper for our 2s and 3s because one of our guys is injured. So if anyone's up for playing for an FA Cup winning team, then that's that. But yeah, you can find us on. Basically, we're on. So this is all very reflective of what I do. So we're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, obviously, because everybody is as Wanderers AFC. We're also on LinkedIn because why not? We got a YouTube channel that is not a scratch on yours, mate. So just don't worry about the competition. Which has got very, very, like for me, I do it all, and they've also got the Wanderers Ones account on Twitter. We're also on Spotify as well. So we've got some really nice little playlist on Spotify. And on that social media front, we're actually pushing our charity fundraising campaign. So we're trying to raise £1,000 for Calm, who are a mental health charity, by the end of the year. We're up to about 370 quid at the moment, so we're doing pretty well. And so if people buy our very fetching shirt, as you can see here, sponsored by shaving brand Harry's, this is my one. Then if they buy one of these, put an order in for 35 quid, we donate £5 to Calm. So deadline is fortunately today, but yeah, we're going to try and we've already got about 4 or 5 fans who've bought a shirt. So thanks to them, obviously, which is great. We're going to try and push a little reminder out because we do a lot of comms on WhatsApp and newsletters, and the website, I suppose, but mainly it's Twitter. So yeah, start on Twitter and work out from there, I guess. So yeah, Wanderers AFC.
Oh, amazing. Honestly, Mark,
I've got one more question, Chris.
Go on then.
Oh, Mark, I was going to ask you how you finding your managers and coaches network at the moment. How are you finding that?
Yeah, good. I think I did it now. I'm kind of a lurker. Do you know what I mean? You sort of pop in and go, oh, I wonder what's going on here. So it's good. I think it's for me, like it's like having so many of the apps and stuff. I've had to turn a lot of it off, and like notifications and so forth. So yeah, it's tricky. But I sort of dabble in, and I think that's what it's for me. My post, it's really useful to dabble in. For others, they're going to be much more active. That's probably indicative of a lot of things. Obviously, it's on Telegraph and that Telegram rather, which I don't bother with. There's a couple of apps I just say no to, just Snapchat and TikTok. I'm like, you got me. I'm lost on that crap. So, but yeah, with Telegram, it's pretty straightforward. We're also using I'm in a different network for a different thing on. Oh God, what's it? There's another one. There's like so many. But yeah, it's what I think is really good is just the desire to bring together a lot of knowledge. So there used to be a grassroots football show at the NEC many years ago, and that was fantastic because you had pros coming in, you had vendors, you had clubs going. It was great, and I think replicating that on a social space is really the ultimate outcome. So yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of scope for it to grow, which is great as well.
Yeah, we're trying to.
Amazing, Mark. Amazing, Mark. Honestly, thank you for coming on and
No, my pleasure.
And again, like the emotions are coming back now. It's
so what the question was always what happened, because it changed to diaspora, didn't it? And then
So we like lost a lot of the players. I also missed playing because I was kind of managing for like 4 or 5 years, and yeah, exactly what you said before. Like you just need commitment, from the players, and like players would come in and go in, and I'm like, well, you know what? No, I just kind of want the ease of life of just turning up, paying my subs, and then clearing off. But honestly, like I've got to thank you guys, because if it kind of wasn't because of like you guys, like I don't think I would have had that drive to actually carry on. So thank you.
So you're always going to be someone's foil, trying to go up against. So yeah,
oh dear, no.
Good. They're good games. So it's a shame.
Really
the rivalries change, but the personalities are still there.
Yeah, 100%. Mark, honestly, thank you so much, and yeah, we will kind of definitely catch up soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Thanks, guys. Nice to see you.
Cheers,
Thank
Mark.
you.
All right, Mark. See you later.
See you later.
Mark, what a character! And again, and it's kind of funny how he kind of mentioned the like striker. And honestly, the God's honest truth, there's probably two players that I've played with that I couldn't believe that they weren't pro. And that was like, one of them was Carl Lacey, and the second one was Drogba. Literally, he looked like Drogba. He literally had the height. He had everything. Literally had everything. And he was just a one-man wrecking machine. The God's honest truth. He was just immense.
Great to breach my mic. The mic went on my thing. That's why.
Not a problem.
Were you speaking? Would you ask me a question?
Yeah, no. Literally, I was kind of literally just talking about when literally Mark mentioned Drogba in that game.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, if it wasn't because of Mark and Wanderers, I think I would have, well, not kind of given up in terms of managing, but Wanderers were always a team on my radar.
Were they your rivals?
Yeah, honestly, like it was kind of like the Manchester United Arsenal back in the day. It was, it was the.
Who's that for? Is that for Norton?
Yeah. So literally that's when I was managing the like Norton.
Tabrice, was you player manager or just managing?
I was managing.
Not playing at all.
No. So kind of literally from the kind of age of like 29 to.
Was Peter there then? Was Peter playing?
Ford was in and out.
Howard
was in and out. Renard and Troy were playing, of course, for.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was a kind of very competitive games, and what like Mark said in terms of when the Bentley literally turned up. Like, imagine on Rains Park, this Bentley just turns up. It was like, what is going on here? And literally, it was literally crapping down with rain. Honestly, like I wish that game was filmed because it literally had everything. It had goalkeeper mistakes, missed penalties, like not dodgy decisions, but decisions that could have gone both ways. And like we knew we had to win that game to at least go top on goal like difference, and we won 2-1. And I still remember how I felt after the game. I felt shattered, but also elated as well, because again, beating Wanderers, in their prime, it was just something different. And again, yeah, we've had like a lot of sparring matches. So no, I've got like a lot of respect to like Mark and like Wanderers FC. So guys, we are running literally about 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
But
I was going to ask you, Reece, where's Norton? Where was it based?
Norton, it was kind of based in Brixton. Well, literally,
okay.
our games were at the Power League in Norbury. And again,
okay.
like my story with like Norton kind of goes way like deep, and literally Barry probably knows a lot of the players when like they were youngsters.
Yeah.
I used to play for the Sunday team, played like for the Sunday team, and then I followed Howard to play Saturdays, and then I started managing because I brought my arm, and then literally like the team literally started from nothing, literally. So from like getting beat like 7-8-1 to actually winning the league and literally attracting some like quality players. But hey, let me not talk too much. Guys, honestly, thank you so much for like everyone that's tuning in. We are running 20 minutes late. We are gonna go for a quick 2-minute commercial, and then once you come back, we're gonna have Justin Prince, founder of South Tampa Bay, all the way in Florida. Welcome back. Let's do it. On the feed, we have founder and South Tampa Florida. What's going on, sir?
Gentlemen, how are we?
We are all good. We're all good.
Justin. Hi, Justin.
Hello, Barry. Oh man, I got 2 berries here. Brilliant. Excellent. How are we, fellas? Good evening to you. It's afternoon here. Hope everyone's doing well. It's been a good show so far.
Well, thank you so much for kind of holding on, and again, apologies about the lateness. It's kind of something I have to improve on. Amateur move. But Justin, love to kind of get I'd say like an intro in terms of South Tampa and an intro and your journey as well.
Yeah, right on. So for those that don't know me, my name's Justin Prince. I'm born and raised in Tampa, Florida. Tampa's been really put on the map lately because we have a lot of professional sports teams that have blown up this last year, 2 years, from hockey to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl. So if you're wondering where we are in the world, I am in Tampa, Florida. Our club is a community sports-based organization. We were founded in 2015. It was a period of my life that was, honestly, it was a living hell. I was going through, my aunt, who was my closest confidant, was dying of lung cancer, and I really needed something to grab a hold to. because I was going down a really dark path. And football for me has always been an amazing outlet. So I thought, why the hell not? I've been playing for all these clubs. Why not just start my own? So in 2015, that's one of the things that I did, and South Tampa FC was born. Couldn't have done it alone though. I've got to recognize Eric Ortiz. Eric has been brilliant. He's the co-founder of the club, and him and I embarked on this journey starting in 2015.
Amazing. And we've had some very kind of long conversations, and, and of course because of the time difference, we've been talking from 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And one of the biggest thing that kind of comes up is
Bruce, you're echoing.
Yeah,
is it me?
You're echoing.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, let me stop. All right, let me stop talking, and then I'll let Coach Barry ask the first question.
Hi, Justin.
Hey, Coach.
Can Justin hear me?
I can, yes, sir.
Oh, Justin, about American football and the grassroots, I'm seeing so many young players coming through and leaving America now and going into European football. And especially Germany, there's so much young American talent in Germany now. And I know Germany's a very tactical league to play in, especially the top division. Why are so much players coming out of the US grassroots system and academies? And why are they so technically good now? What's happened? What is the explosion? What's happening? Why so many players are coming through?
Barry, that's a great question. I'll tell you, you wouldn't have seen that 10, 15 years ago.
No, I wasn't.
And here's why. The soccer, as we call it, is by far in numbers statistically shows the most popular sport when it comes to youths in the United States. I don't know if parents put their children in football or in soccer to let them go run around and get tired, and that's what maybe it used to be. But the reality is, in this country, we have a lot of choices, from American football to basketball to baseball. The list goes from A to Z. It's absolutely. And after World War II, the United States made it a real easy pathway to get to Germany, just in a perspective of travel and getting a visa and getting citizenship, dual citizenship, etc. But I think the game has grown a lot. It's obviously Manchester United kind of paved the way for the first big popular team here in the 90s. They were the first club that were on television here. And it started gaining the European game started gaining a lot of traction. I'm a 90s baby, so I support United, as you maybe can see.
Boo.
That landscape has changed. Oh, Barry. He's covering his face. That's changed now. You've got kids coming up, playing youth football, going into the system, and supporting all sorts of clubs. But I think the main thing has been the fact that so many Europeans have come to United States. There's a lot of money that's flowed down into the youth system. That the level of coaching has come to a level to where these academies are producing a lot of talent, and you are seeing more kids go test their talents abroad. You didn't see that before. So,
okay, Barry from Ultimate Sports Network.
Hello, Justin. Good afternoon at your end. How easy it is to start a club in the US, and what difficulties have you found doing it?
Fuck, mate, it's tough. Let me tell you. Here's why. There's no revenue to be made, so it's all on passion. From the amateur level, it's not that difficult if you have the passion. But if the difference between our two countries is there is still, in yours, there's an ability to start a club and enter in competitions and potentially one day break into the semi-pro or the pro game. In the United States, that's just not simply available. Without going into too much detail, there's a lot of corruption at the top of football here, and all the money is concentrated within Major League Soccer, and Major League Soccer owns the USSF, and there is no promotion relegation. And people ask me all the time, my British friends, when I explain it to them, they look at me like I have three heads, and I don't blame them, because it's so whacked out and untraditional from what the model is out of Europe and England, that there really is a barrier. So to start a club, I should have started it by saying, to start an amateur club like ourselves, a Sunday league team, is not all that difficult, because the U.S. soccer and U.S. adult soccer does offer a fantastic network of state affiliated leagues, and from there regional affiliated leagues. There are a few independents as well that have come up over the years, and then there's a lot of non-affiliated, what we call Mexican leagues, because we obviously have a very vast Latino community here that loves football, and they do, a lot of them do create their own leagues regionally. So about 60% of the total landscape, don't quote me on that number, is probably falls under U.S. soccer, under U.S. adult soccer, which is ultimately what the umbrella that we fall under, that we play under, for insurance purposes and other reasons. But so to start an amateur football club like South Tampa FC is not all that difficult. To sustain that is, because again, there's really no revenue. We're blessed. We have a great principal partner in Salem's Fresh Eats. I was telling Tabrice I would put Salem's against Don Kebab or whatever the hell the Dons have any day of the week. But it's about $5,000 a year to run our organization. I mean, it comes with a cost, so it's tough to not too difficult to start, but definitely difficult to sustain.
I was going to say, do you think it should change then in American the soccer, the way it's organised, with it all being that there's no relegation, there's all that? Do you think it's going to stifle your progression as a football playing country?
I definitely think it should change. Unfortunately, when the United States didn't make the World Cup and it was exposed, nothing happened. So will it ever change? I don't think so.
No.
I think there's too much power and too much financial incentive to keep promotion relegation out of our system, which is absolutely a tragedy. Now that being said, there definitely could be improvement between U.S. soccer and the MLS to help the finances trickle down. And your country is a great example of that. If the Premier League does a $2 billion deal with NBC in the United States, somehow, some way, that money gets supported to the lower divisions. And unfortunately, we don't see that here. We're sort of left to fight for ourselves in a way.
Coach
Justin, like you said, there's no help from the FA or anything like that. So does that impact the child, or the players who want to play? Is it more expensive to play?
I tell you what, that's a great question, because youth football in this country is a profit center, and it's a problem. As I mentioned, these adolescents and these kids, they have so many options to play different sports, and when the money's not trickling down, you ask yourself, in the Olympics, why does the United States always win the medal count? They have some of the best athletes in the world, and it's because these other sports, they scrub the streets essentially to find these athletes at a real young age to develop them. You're starting to see it more, but it's miles behind some of the other sports, miles behind when it comes to football. We're nowhere near where it could be, because there's so many talented and gifted young athletes that could be going into football. Not to say that you're not seeing it more, because there are more platforms, there are more academies, especially top academies like the Philadelphia Union, FC Dallas. But the average cost for when I was growing up, and my parents, I don't thank them enough, because I know it was expensive to travel and it was expensive to put us in. But you're talking maybe $1,000 to $2,000 per year per kid. Now, the average youth player to play what we call competitive soccer is anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 per year per kid. It's just outrageous.
Wow.
And
That's outrageous.
these youth clubs have become so powerful because they've developed this pay for play system essentially that some of our best athletes just simply can't afford it.
Yeah.
And it's sad because not to say that they all get through the system, but I would bet money that there's a lot that do get through the system simply because their families can't afford for them to play youth football in our country.
Yeah. So I've got a quick question for you. With this influx of, especially from the UK, a lot of players that are playing semi-pro think that they can go to the States and possibly make it pro. How do you feel about players that like may not make it here, thinking that they can go to the States and actually turn pro? I mean, are you a fan of that? I mean, is there any kind of backlash? I mean, what's your thoughts about that?
A great question. And I have a personal experience, an example of why that definitely is a great idea for players coming from the UK or from Europe. A few of our players that we had a few years ago played. They I think were born and bred in the Norwich Academy. Dom Dwyer, they played with him. Santi Alexis and Kyle Nichols. They were fantastic players, but they saw the opportunity to come to the United States and to play in college. And there's not as many opportunities. There's a tremendous amount of opportunities in the collegiate game here. So the idea of an Englishman coming to the United States to play professional football, I think they come over with a different level of quality. I definitely believe they come over with a more rigorous mentality of what it takes, and that gives them an advantage. I think the collegiate system here in the United States definitely is great because it gives them an opportunity to earn an education using their talents on the football pitch. As far as Europeans coming over thinking that they will have a better chance to play professional football, that's a tough question, T. It's a really tough question because there's not as many clubs and opportunities that have the budgets. And if they do come over, it's not like they're going to come over making a salary north of $50,000 annually. They'll be scraping $20,000 to $30,000 if they're signed in the USL Championship or US, and then it gets less and less as you go down. USL 1, USL 2. And when I say USL, I mean the United Soccer League, which is essentially the bitch to MLS, because again, there's no promotion and relegation. So you have MLS, Major League Soccer, where all the money's concentrated. You have their academies playing in the USL, and then it goes further down the ladder from there. So it's a really tough question to answer, T. I think the pathway, though, that I've seen work for friends of mine, and obviously Dom was an anomaly. Dom Dwyer played for the University of South Florida and then went on to go play in Major League Soccer at Kansas City and then eventually Orlando City. It is definitely attractive for those that maybe just not be able to break into the pro game where you are.
Cool. Barry from Ultimate Sports Network.
I was just going to ask you about where your club is now and where do you see it going in the future?
The Sunday League scene or just professional football?
Generally as well. Generally.
In Germany?
No, generally.
No, generally.
Oh, generally. I'm sorry, mate. Generally, what I see, well, we have some problems here that need to be addressed because at the rate that we're on, I think there's going to be more divide and more segregation year by year. I think it's expensive. It's tough. It really takes a lot of passion and dedication for a Sunday League team owner who bears the responsibilities of coordinating, finding and recruiting players, to finding a pitch, which are virtually impossible to get because the youth game in our country, the youth teams, because they are so powerful, have virtually made it a land grab and very difficult for the adults to find fields. It's unbelievable. Barry, I heard you talking to the last guest at how a couple of clubs went under, and there's these gyms that may be available. We just unfortunately don't have that here, So I see it being a challenge, and I see there being more divide. I see more and more independent leagues popping up, trying to offer the next best thing, and they're just not sustaining. So, if we could find a way to work together, if we could find a way, and I sit on the board of our league, Suncoast Soccer as well, to engage some of the independents like the regional Mexican leagues to come together and align with, to make it a win-win for all parties. I think we have a chance. If we fail to do that, it's going to be very difficult to sustain, because today the challenges with our adults, and I'll speak for my team specifically, the challenges that we have with players is we're fighting the wives, girlfriends, the bars, and all the distractions, right? With the kids that are coming up playing football now, for those that don't go to play college or go, the 1% or less that may go play professional, we have the metaverse to worry about, right? The YouTube and video games and whatnot. So it's like, fuck me. Are we gonna have the players? This is running through my mind. So.
Justin, you'll have virtual players, mate.
I want you on my FIFA team if that's what we do, yeah.
Oh dear. And regarding teams that you follow in the UK, could you kind of name a few? And again, what do you think about the level of grassroots here, and also the kind of coverage of it?
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you asked that question, T. I'm a massive fan of grassroots football in the UK. I've been fortunate enough to kind of network with some of these folks as well. Barry, I know you've got family at Lambeth, LAS Life. Yeah. I love LAS Life. They're ballers, man, absolute ballers. I obviously respect what the Dons have done for the game. Definitely. I've had some DMs with those guys, and they follow us as well. I would love to meet this community that's really driving. And I'm gonna butcher her name, but Shane from last week.
Yeah,
Sean,
the Wall.
What the Wall are doing, it's so cool to see, and I love the fact that they're utilizing all the resources and the energy that these clubs, the following that they have, to really execute at the level that they're doing is phenomenal. So I of course am a big fan, and I follow the culture, and I try to network as best as possible with some of these teams, even some of the ones that are on the north side of town. But yeah, just that whole Sunday league scene in London in particular is just lit. It's on fire, and I can't thank them enough for all that they do.
Barry from Ultimate Sports Network.
I'm without of questions, T.
Oh, what do you mean you run out of questions?
I'm without of questions, T. Oh, you want our network, Justin? Do you want to join our network, Justin?
Hey, come on, let's go.
Well,
Coach,
I run a network, Justin. I'm the Ultimate Football Network, and I wondered if you actually are on it, or would you like to be on it with? Or Fabrice runs part of it, which is the Amateur Football Network part of it. Would you like to be on that?
Putting me on the spot, man. But hey, I'm an entrepreneur, so
It's free, Justin.
Let's go. Let's do it. We'd love to.
Great stuff. And Coach Barry?
Well, I'm asking Justin. Justin, you talked about like the professional side, but what were the governing bodies like for the grassroots sections like? Like we've got like junior football association. Is it same like that in the US? Do you have different governing bodies, or is it one head what runs everything, dictates everything, and governs everything?
It's a pyramid scheme. It runs through U.S. soccer.
Everything runs through U.S. soccer.
Not everything, but if they could, they'd like it to. And I have to speak very carefully because I sit on.
You're there. You better speak carefully.
No. I'm so small. I'm so small. They won't even notice. And even if they did, they wouldn't care. Honestly, to answer your question, the U.S. soccer and the U.S. Soccer Federation, they have the road goes two ways. They have U.S. adult soccer and they have U.S. youth soccer.
Yeah,
I would say 99% of the resources are dedicated towards U.S. youth soccer, simply because that's where the money is. These parents are willing to take these year after year increases and pay these astronomical prices for their kids to play competitive football, selling them a dream. And the reality is that 1% of the resources or less going to the adult game, eventually we're going to hit our wit's end. We need help. We absolutely need help. It's very tough. And there has been some other independent, I've mentioned we've got about 60% of the pie. There's probably another 20% with the UPSL. And I would say the rest is divided up into non-affiliated rogue entrepreneurial type regional leagues, mostly Latino community supported. But when it comes to the governing body, it's a very, very small group of people. And when you look at who's running it, you say, are those people qualified? And you have to ask yourself, how has our system had brilliant footballing minds like Jurgen Klinsmann come in and simply get fed up and simply say, I can't do this anymore. If they're not already shown the door, right? It's definitely something that needs to happen, because the kids are going to be outpriced if they're not already outpriced and finding another sport. And there needs to be some help on the adult side that trickles down, because it's very tough to sustain. Very, very tough.
So when David Beckham created that franchise, were you excited about that, or were you thinking, oh, here we go again? It's just
another franchise, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, so David Beckham investing his money or investing his money like that, like wasn't an exciting moment for you, Justin, in the States.
It was, however, that deal was done as a part of him coming to the United States back when he featured for the LA Galaxy. That was a part of his agreement. I forget his name, if it's Tony or his right hand trusted man. That was a deal that Beckham's camp made, and I don't call it an MLS franchise a franchise. I call it a Bitcoin, because it's a limited number of available franchise organizations that are basically allowed until they're grandfathered in, and there can be no more. Beckham, when he came to the United States to play, was extremely smart. His camp was extremely smart, because they negotiated that into his deal to make sure that he was grandfathered in.
Yeah.
And it was a brilliant move on his team's part. So, we kind of knew it was coming. We didn't know necessarily the details. Obviously, I don't run in that circle, but there's enough people that know that, that was a part of his overall strategy when he first came to play here. Now, I'm in Tampa. Tampa's about 5 hours from Miami. Miami is the LA of the East Coast. It's a massive market, primarily driven by the Latino community, and it may take them a while, but that club will be a big club because of the resources that they have, and again because of the resources of Soccer United marketing, trickling all the profits from the marketing deal of MLS back to the clubs. And keep in mind, these clubs can never get relegated. There is no
crazy.
This is mind
It's wrong
blowing.
though, isn't it, Baz? It's wrong, Baz.
Yeah.
It's madness.
Yeah.
Can I ask Justin another question?
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, Justin, I'm always full of questions, mate.
All good.
It is.
Because you know, America's so big. So how do you do your grassroots, your tournaments and stuff? Like we'll have counties and stuff. You've got states, and we have like national tournaments. And just to travel in the expense for you to cover, like you're saying, to Tampa's 5 hours. How do you cover all them expenses? Just traveling alone.
It's
so huge.
It's mad. Let me answer the first part of your question, and I'll do my best to answer the second part. So to answer your first part of your question, we are divided into state affiliated leagues.
Yeah.
For example, Florida Adult Soccer Association is a member of U.S. Adult Soccer Organization, and that flows under U.S. Soccer. So these states essentially are divided up geographically by state. There's a few states that don't have enough teams or enough resources, so they do kind of combine by the region, because there are parts of the country that the states are much smaller versus like a California or a Texas or even a Florida, where it does warrant the actual state to have their own state affiliation or their own association rather. And basically, and I'll give Florida as an example. Florida Adult Soccer Association has 11 or 12 different regional leagues that fall under the umbrella of Florida Adult Soccer. Suncoast Soccer, which is the league that South Tampa is a part of, it's a league that I sit on the board of. We're made up of 4 counties here on the west coast part of Florida. If you know the Gulf of Mexico and Florida, we get hit by a lot of hurricanes. We've been really blessed though over the last few years, but that's how our league is geographically divided up. Is 4 counties that make up Suncoast Soccer, and of those 4 counties, we have a Premier Division, Division 1, Division 2, and then it goes into the over divisions, which I learned in your part of the world you call veteran football. We call it the over.
So Justin, what's the furthest you could travel to a game?
So good question. Whenever we do play in state competitions, there's what we call State Cup, and that depending on if it's hosted in Orlando or hosted in Miami or in Sarasota, it can be anywhere from 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
Or if we haven't had to go to Miami. If so, that would be a 5-hour drive. And
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's mind blowing, and we don't have a rail car system or trains whatsoever here. I mean,
no
they just drive, Barry. They just drive over there.
What do you mean they got no trains? What do you mean?
we do not. I mean, we have them, but they're not as popular as the European transit model.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, there's only a few metros in the country that are anywhere close to what I guess what you would call the underground, right? Like, and I would say that's Washington, D.C., New York City, Boston. But Florida, and where I am particularly, it's a very, very vertical and horizontal state that with an extreme issue with public transportation. So everyone drives. You have to have a car. That's why.
Oh my God.
Oh, crazy. And actually, question to Coach Barry, what would you what would be your advice if like one of your players said they wanted to go to the States to actually try their luck in terms of trying to make it pro, or actually looking to go to college there?
I wouldn't really advise. The competition's fierce in America, because remember, you've not just got the Americans, you've got all the South Americans. You've got all the West Indian islands. All the players from the West Indian islands are going to the US and Canada also to try and get in. So the competition is just as fierce in the US for less spaces as well. So I don't want people to get a misconception that it's easy to become a professional footballer in the US. It's not. The competition is fierce and it's much bigger than just here. So you've got to be very careful, do your due diligence and know where you're going. Unless you've got something set up already to go over there and get a contract. If you're going over there blind, I'd say you're crazy. I wouldn't advise it because the level is very high. It's a great pleasure. And remember, you got all the islands as well. All those players go to America and Canada as well.
Yeah, fair enough. Actually, so the Canadian league, I mean, is this, is there?
That's where that's where thing came from. The Bayern Munich Davis came from, isn't it? He came from the Canadian league.
He did. Yeah, that's definitely coming up too.
The Canadian, they got some. I'm telling you, it's strong. To be strong. There's some great players in the US and Canada. Very good players.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, when the question was asked earlier, what I meant by the opportunity for an Englishman to come to the United States and really see the value would be in our college system, 100%. Coach Barry's right. If you're a footballer in the UK and you think it's going to be any easier to come get a pro contract here in the States, you're sadly mistaken, because the competition quality is good. There's a lot of international players already here, and there's less opportunity. There's not enough football clubs here,
Exactly. Yeah.
And but in the college system, there is an abundance of colleges that definitely could use the services of a technical player, of a hardworking player, and then the opportunity cost, if you don't make it pro, is you still get that education. Yeah. So that's what I meant by the best opportunity.
Justin, one of our coaches did the college system over there. Tabrice Frank.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, Frank done the football college 2 years in the US. And he goes, the facilities in America, the college is better than some of the pro clubs by a mile. Way the facilities and everything. Yeah, Frank done 2 years in the US college program. He said the facilities are second to none. Everything they've done was way better than over here. Should have had him on the show tonight.
Yeah, wow.
He got first-hand experience.
Wow. And regarding some of the exports, we have got Pulisic. Who else is there? But I mean, of course, we've had
Brad Friedel.
Yeah, but I mean, those, we're like talking about a decade ago. But I'm like talking about, literally the elite players and that. But yeah, I mean, we've had Tim Howard. We've had Roy Wegley. Yeah. We've had who else? Owen Hargreaves. No, is Owen Hargreaves American, Canadian? Well, that's that's kind of up for debate. But again, there's kind of literally now been, of course, Pulisic is, from Borussia Dortmund to that Chelsea now. I mean, does that inspire you and inspire a lot of your like players, thinking, okay, you know what? Well, there are now doors being open if you're good enough.
It's the most exciting. It's the most exciting.
My phone is going again, man.
Time. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
It's the most exciting time for a high level, quality youth footballer here in America to actually see his dream. I see in the comments Landon Donovan. The joke was always called. We always called him Landon Prima Donovan, because here's why: when you have that much talent and you're that good, and you come to Europe to test your skills, and you run back to Southern California, fuck off. I mean, what kind of example does that set? So I give the biggest credit to Christian, and I know he grew up in London, and not many players get to experience that. And obviously Gio Reyna with his father, right, captaining the U.S. side, is a different level of growing up in the game. But the kids these days here in this country now get to actually dream it and see it coming to fruition in some of the top leagues in Europe. Another player is Josh Sargent, right? You're if I was a footballer growing up today, I could actually relate and identify. A couple decades ago, you couldn't. And Landon was the first that really was the face of U.S. soccer, that did go test himself in Germany and for brief periods of time at Everton, but always felt it more comfortable to go back to Southern California. Again, it's nothing against Landon, but that really was not the best example for young footballers growing up saying, I want to grow up and play football in Europe. I want to be a professional player and test myself at the highest level. Today, that's not the case because of the Pulisics of the world. So,
Justin, what's happened to George Weah's son?
Yeah, Tim. He's
George Weah's son. You know that, Tabrice? He's in US.
No. Yeah, Tim. He's a bundle of talent that a lot of people are looking at him saying, what are you going to unleash that talent and become a top tier footballer? Because I think he's
got the potential, hasn't he? But he's got
a lot of potential. So time will tell with him. You know? But I think it's not too early. Now is his time. So.
Okay. And also as well, the emergence of social media. You've kind of spoken about other like sports that kind of literally get the recognition because of probably the like brand awareness. How does the kind of US grassroots social media aspect of it compare to the UK?
I would say we're at about 50% at what the UK is doing. Again, I'm a bit different. I wake up and it's the first thing I check because I'm obsessed with football. Are all my players waking up and that's the first thing that they do is look at the amateur footballer, your fresh TV sport, grassroots goals? No, they're not, right? But it's because of the movement coming out of London and because of the Sunday League grassroots football scene coming out of the UK. It's become the awareness is there and we're getting better. When I first started our club in 2015, that was one of the big things that made us different. Is we were one of the first teams here in the state of Florida, definitely in the Suncoast Soccer League, that actually would post highlights to our Instagram. That even had an Instagram. We were a first mover in our area that did that. So we had players that were moving to Tampa from Texas, Georgia, the Carolinas, that actually would DM us and say, hey, I saw you via Instagram, can I come out for a trial or can I come out and train? So it's helped us tremendously. As the director of marketing for Suncoast Soccer, it's now a mandatory minimum requirement for all teams in our league to at least have a Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
So it's these policies that I'm starting to implement with our board are helping us get to the next level. But I would say we're probably about 50% of what you guys are doing, and just how much of that is passion versus choice, right? Football is in your world is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, essentially. And unfortunately, there's just so much choice over here and so many other distractions. It's not, we don't live it and breathe it. Not all of us, at least.
Yeah. And Coach Barry, the last question to you.
My last question, Tim, when are you coming over? With South Tampa. When is South Tampa going to do a tour? When are they coming on tour?
So I've asked Don Strapsey. I've had some conversations with the Crook.
Great.
And
And to Tabrice, I hope you've spoken to Tabrice, I hope.
Oh yeah. He's going to be the sponsor of our tour. In all honesty, before the pandemic, I had big dreams to want to do a showcase and bring them here.
That'd be brilliant. That'd be great.
And it's still a dream of mine, right? And to come up with the resources to do so, with our local professional club here, the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and someone that's affiliated with our club is their all-time leading goal scorer, and Georgie Ristoff really could help us logistically help put on a showcase where it could be a battle of the best YouTube teams, but I would love to, wishfully thinking, come over for a tour, because when I first came to England in 2006, I was over for the World Cup and staying with family in Germany. And I came over to London for a few days, and eventually I made my way up to Old Trafford. And I think if I came to England today, I wouldn't leave, because the culture that you have there for football is unmatched anywhere. And it's it's incredible. So if we had the resources and there wasn't travel restrictions like we have, today, I would love to come to the UK. Problem is, I don't know if I'd leave.
And sorry, we've got one question from Paul Barrett. Justin, what went wrong with Freddie Adu? And because he was like hot property a couple of decades ago.
That was a while ago. Freddie burned out. Remember, he was playing from he was 14, wasn't he? He was 14, playing 15. Yeah, he's so young. But let Justin would know more depth of it. So I'll leave it to Justin.
So Freddie Adu, that's a great question, Paul. I think going back to the icons in American soccer, before Freddie Adu, it was Alexi Lawless and Landon Donovan. And there was a couple other players like DeMarcus Beasley who were at a high level, but we really never had that American superstar. We didn't have that Christian Pulisic, and I think the U.S. Soccer Federation was thirsting, along with other corporate partners, that wanted to make Freddie Adu the face of U.S. soccer. And when Freddie first came on the scene, he was just a boy. I mean, I think he was 14 or 15 years old.
He was 14, I remember, when he played his first game.
He was 14 years old for DC United. I know there's some controversy on the authenticity of the birth certificate, but if I have to take it for what is actual facts in front of me, he was 14 years old when he first played for DC United. A 14-year-old getting thrown to the Wolves is a tough ask. I mean, I know there's young footballers today that are 16, 17 years old, but when you go back and you look at photos, he wasn't a physical specimen. And I think he was thrown in too early. And I think the pressure that the U.S. soccer put on Freddie Adu to be the poster boy, to be the next Pele, which there was he did a commercial here in my hometown, Tampa, Florida. You YouTube it. It was Sierra Mist. It was Freddie Adu and Pele. That's the level of pressure that was put on Freddie Adu to be the face of U.S. soccer. He's doing pop soda commercials with Pele at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, at 14 and 15 years old. That's a tremendous amount of pressure. And I'm sure you guys see it all the time. Quality players that just get put a tremendous amount of pressure that when they don't quite hit that level, it all goes crumbling. And that's unfortunately what happened to Freddie Adu.
Yeah. Do you know what he's doing now, Justin?
He was actually playing for the Tampa Bay Rowdies in St. Petersburg, right across the bridge here in Tampa. In his last pro contract. I don't believe he's playing professional now. But obviously he holds a special place in my heart because obviously he was grown up through the IMG Academy, and U.S. Soccer really did try to groom him, but he was done an injustice by being thrown to the Wolves way too young and putting too much pressure on him to become the face of U.S. Soccer, and he just wasn't ready.
Yeah, I agree.
Justin, honestly, thank you so much. And before we go, could you please just put out your social media handles?
Sure. So I would appreciate everyone follow South Tampa FC on the screen now. We are an Instagram club. We are not a YouTube team. One day possibly, but on Instagram you can follow us at South Tampa FC, and that would be much appreciated.
Justin, man, always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure, and I'm sure that we will physically meet 100%. I can guarantee that 100%.
Excellent. And
Great
Barry,
talking to you, Justin.
I'll look for that Ultimate Sports Network, and we'll get on that as well. And gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure too, Justin. Hope to see you again, Justin. Back on the show.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Wow. All the way from the States.
Wow, man.
Big shout out to like Justin Prince.
That was excellent to Brees, man.
No, you know what I mean. Again, without you guys,
learn a lot there. Learn a lot.
Yeah. Again, Justin watches like the show, and again, like he knows like a lot of the players in of course Lambeth and SC Dons and Wall, and he lives and breathes it, and it's kind of weird because of course when he's kind of talking about football, he's very knowledgeable. Like he kind of knows his nuts. He definitely knows everything. So a big shout out to
brilliant, man. Good guy.
It's a brief. Do you know who he reminds me of?
Go on.
Diego.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He knows quite a lot, doesn't he? Diego's quite he knows quite a lot about soccer, doesn't he? Football.
He does. Yeah.
Do you remember
the one on the Monday night when I spoke to you on Monday?
Yes.
Yeah. I like him. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. Diego. Yeah. You'll probably hear him tomorrow if you come on tomorrow, Baz.
Yeah. What time?
What time?
Go on then.
9 till 10, Baz, tomorrow.
Right.
Monday
9 till 10, Barry.
9 till 1, you mean 9 till 1 o'clock.
So,
again, well.
So, just a little plug. Please go and connect with Barry from the Ultimate Sports Network. It's a huge network with over 3,000 contacts, and every single Monday there's a big conversation. And Coach Barry was actually part of it last week Monday, and again we literally just talk about football. We just literally move from conversation to it's just different subjects. And again, everyone is invited. And again, it's kind of literally all about sharing knowledge, talking about your stories. And again, there's like no right or wrong answer to anything. And literally that's from 9 till 10. But last week I heard it went from 9 till 1 because of Coach Barry. Because of Coach Barry. Oh dear. But,
and I got to brief. We've got to big up Don B with the branding.
Yes,
he's the one who started all the independent branding. That's 100%. Don B. Beanie hats, baseball hats, hoodies, everything. Check Don B. He's the man who started all the branding for Independent FC.
Is he local? Is he local? Is he local to you?
He's one of the managers. He's the manager of the Open Age team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he's got all the branding done and gave me the links to get some of their stuff done. So check Don or check myself if you need beanies, baseball hats, hoodies. Yeah. Well done, Don. Appreciate it.
Well done, man. Well done. And again, thank you to everyone that's sticking around. We are 2 hours in. We have one more segment, which is the Vets / Masters segment. We have Black Klopp in the background, but before I bring him in, let me go over the results from the weekend. So let me start from Division 1. So Division 1, it was Johnson and Phillips 1, the Charcoal 4, and New Park Vets 3, Glebe 8. Ooh. And yeah, I mean, again, New Park beat LSU.
When New Park on the show, they beat LSU.
Yeah. They beat LSU, but again, I think Lee, who's a manager, and Harry, I believe, I think they can openly say it all depends on the players that they have. If they have all of their players available, then they're a kind of force to be reckoned with. If they lose a couple, then they will struggle. And Glebe are are a decent team, and putting like 8 past them away from home probably wasn't nice. But hey, you know what?
Probably wasn't nice to breathe.
It wasn't nice, hey. It wasn't nice. So the league table as it stands: the Charcoal are first, Stansfield second, Glebe third, LSU A, Johnson and Phillips, New Park Rangers, Column United, Metrogas, and Defiance. And the fixtures for like next week, it's the London Cup next week as well. So it's the London Cup mixed with one Division 1 game. So Metrogas versus Snodland Town, New Park, Division 1 game against Defiance. Stansfield versus Woodcombe, and probably the tie of the round is the Charcoal versus LSU. So again, that is a big game. And again, I just want to say that all of the London Cup draws were done live on my channel. So again, there's kind of no match fixing. Everything was out in the open. So again, if kind of literally anyone is querying any of these fixtures, please go back a couple of weeks and you will see the live draw with Jamal and myself. Let's go to Division 2. The results. Division 2. So Cray Wanderers 3, Catford 3, Independent 6, Norwood Lakers 0, Leone Stars 4, Bow Street Runners 5, LSU B 3, Wallenham Vets 2, and Seagas 3, Blackheath 4. And how the table looks right now. Sorry, let me go to the table. Sorry. Independent first, Blackheath second, Cray Wanderers third, Seagas, Sporting Santos, LSU B, Wallenham, Leone Stars, Catford, Bow Street Runners, and Norwood Lakers. And again, hey, it's kind of interesting because if you kind of look at like the top 2, no one's been talking about Blackheath. Like they are still unbeaten as well. Everyone kind of keeps them talking about Independent and Santos, but there's Blackheath there, and like they're like doing pretty well. So literally that game is going to be really, really, really tasty. So let me take this off the screen and go back. And had one comment. New Park did not have a full squad, which, I mean, it shows.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And again, thank you to everyone that's been tuning in. I have literally put out a message to the managers that I know to say, please come onto the show. Aztec were supposed to come onto the show, but I'm not too sure where they are. But again, lo and behold, the only person the only coach that's been consistent is Black Klopp. So thank you for coming on once more.
Good evening, Barry. Good evening, Barry.
Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Paul.
How you doing?
We are all well. So could you talk about the games that Independent played Saturday and Sunday?
Okay. I'll go back to front. So we will go with the Surrey County Cup, Vets Cup game against Livingston. Rah. It was a big ask for the guys, but I have to say from the start, very, very, very proud of the squad. An amazing effort. Livingston, we know their players, they know us. Very good side. Good ball playing side. It was a tale of two halves, I could say. First half, they were up to speed, Livingston. We were just finding ourselves. We took the lead, and they dragged themselves back in and then took a 4-1 lead. Second half, the guys sort of got it together. I suppose got a second wind, considering they had played on Saturday. Got a second wind and pulled it back to 4-4. Had chances to win the game, playing really well. I don't know where they found the energy from. It's just the desire in this squad is amazing. Played really well. Just 3 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go, and Livingston just edged it. Just a lack of concentration in the box, and their forward, who was very good throughout the game, just nicked in and put it away. We had chances, in football, we had chances to win it. They took their chances. Fair play to them, and wish them the greatest luck in the next round. Good side. Whoever beats them is going to have a very hard game to play against them. Very well put together team. Know each other. Play good football. It was an enjoyable game to watch. Even though we lost, it was an enjoyable game to watch, considering the efforts that the guys put in. Saturday's
sorry.
game.
Sorry. So before you continue, a lot of people were saying that the officials were not the best. I mean, is there something that you want to comment about?
It's grassroots football. I said what I said during the game. It's grassroots football. Sometimes you get good ones, sometimes you get bad ones. So no point going into it.
It's gone now, isn't it? So
yeah,
it's over.
Exactly.
You've got to deal with the present. It's gone.
Yeah, no point going into it. You get good game. You get good ones. You get bad ones.
Yeah.
So Saturday's game against Norwood Lakers, who are having a tough season, wasn't the best of starts. You can see that Norwood Lakers are a decent side. They're just having bad luck. Maybe not getting their full team out. Injuries. They held us to 0-0 at half time. I don't know if it was the weather. It was pretty cold. The warm-up and the start of the game wasn't to mine Ray's liking. Gave them a bit of a rollicking at half time. And they turned it around. Another enjoyable game. We know Norwood Lakers, they know us. Another good team, just having a bad run of luck. But yeah, we turned it around, scored some good goals. And yeah, we move on, unbeaten in the league, in a good position, coming up to Christmas. So fingers crossed it continues.
And you, of course, in the group, everyone was very positive, regarding today's result. Again, playing 2 games within less than 24 hours, as a kind of vet side,
That's a big ask.
It's a big ask, but again, there's literally no excuses. Now we, of course, yes, we haven't lost in the league, but we've suffered a defeat.
Cups are just a bonus, Bruce. Your bread and butter is the league. Cups are just a bonus. Bread and butter is the league. It was always going to be a big ask with this cup being on a Sunday and we play on a Saturday. You know what I mean? Yeah. Watching that game, you wouldn't have known that Independent had played on a Saturday. That's the effort those guys put in. I said it at the end, so proud of them. Can't say nothing more. So proud of them. You wouldn't have known, Livingston knew they were in a game. So proud of them. But, best of luck to Livingston. They played a very good game. Good players, very technically good, football-minded, knew their way around the pitch. We were on top of them for a bit. Then they were on, so it was backwards and forwards. Again, both teams had chances. It's just that they put theirs away at the right times. So it's just how it goes.
Barry from the Ultimate Sports Network would love to get a question or comment.
Come on, Barry.
How do you think, Paul? How do you think you're doing for the season? Then are you players doing okay? Do you need more players, or are you doing fine as you are?
We've got a very, very strong squad, Barry. Very strong squad. I mean, for them to turn out today after a game on Saturday, and we had 5, 6, 7 subs. It's an amazing effort. Amazing effort. It just shows the hunger of this squad.
Yeah.
And they've been together 5 years now. Every season you sprinkle a bit of magic on it. We've done that this season, but the effort, can't doubt it. Can't argue with it. The effort of these guys, absolutely amazing for Vets. I mean, they can all play open age if they wanted to. Absolutely amazing effort. Very proud of them.
Coach Barry.
No, well, I said we all know what our main aim is. We all know what our main aim is, and that hasn't changed.
No.
Where we want to be next season, and that's not going to change until we're there.
Yeah.
So we played a game. We played Saturday. We played Sunday. We've lost a cup game on a Sunday. The boys done us proud. We can't ask no more. We move on to the next game, but we know what our main. We don't change our objective. We know where we want to be, and that's it. We know where we want to be next year.
Exactly.
So kind of looking at the table, there's Blackheath who are still unbeaten as well.
Who are Blackheath? It must be good to be unbeaten all the way through till now. They must have something about them.
I've watched them. They do what they do good. They do what they do good. We play them next year in January. Week after we play them at home, and then the following week we play them away. Yeah. It's very strange. The league has done that, but so
how come
it's like a double header.
Why haven't Sporting played any games?
Sporting,
I'm not too sure.
Who?
Sporting ain't played no games.
Sporting Santos. I mean, funny enough, when Asher was on the show before, he actually did say that they have no games in December.
I don't understand that. That's not that's not
ridiculous.
That's not doing them any good. They want to play. Everybody wants to play. I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be playing some serious catch up.
Yeah, this is how it is. Yeah.
So, Paul. So, we have LSUB in our next game, and then after that, we have the London Cup against Redbridge. The team that
we got Redbridge. Well, we got Redbridge on Saturday.
Oh, got Redbridge on Saturday.
Yeah, and then we got LSU on the 18th. Last game of this year.
All right. Two big games.
Yeah.
And again, how? And I think I've probably asked this question on like numerous, occasions. But how important now is it to focus before the end of the year and to kind of get through, this kind of very tough Christmas run and kind of
we've given them a target to aim for the end of the year, so they know what they need to aim for. The cup game against Redbridge were a good side. They knocked out Santos. I think it went to pens, so they're a decent.
They went to penalties,
yeah. They're a decent side, so that'll be interesting. But I know the guys will want to redo what happened today. So Saturday, they've got, they'll have a good training session this week, and they'll go again. There's no doubt. There's hunger.
Paul, I don't think you play against much sides as technical as Livingston. I know their squad. You're not going to play against sides like that.
Yeah, very
for the rest of the season. They're so technical. So many top players in their side.
Forward was the two forwards were very good.
Very good.
I mean, the whole team. I mean, as you know, Barry, we know them, they know us. So we was a lot of chat on the line, good chat. You know what I mean? And it was a good game. Very good game to watch. Yeah.
And like also as well in the WhatsApp group, there's been an open conversation about people's songs for the team's playlist. How did that go today?
It went well.
What songs? What's that about?
Well, no, we did a playlist, and everybody had 3 songs to pick to put into the play. Some people's songs were horrendous, but
name them.
Well, I think Tabrice put in MC Hammer. You know what I mean? Some other song, which will, to be honest, will never be played in the changing room.
What do you mean? Why not?
And I'm thinking
MC Hammer Tabrice.
Nels put in, I don't know, some pop song. I don't know what it is. That again will never be played in the changing room. But hey, it's all fun and games, isn't it? It's all fun and games. It's all fun and games.
Oh dear. And again, you know what? Coach Barry kind of has been talking about now independent becoming a brand now with with the brand merchandise, hats, clothing. How important is it now to kind of go into that next phase? Not only just like for the vets, but can also for the youth teams in independent.
No, it's very, very important. I mean, the youth are the future. I mean, we're coming to the end of it's the youth that is the future. If we can give them a really good example, you know what I mean? They've got a great example in Barry for a start.
You didn't ask the results this week, Fabrice.
Don't worry, coach. We're getting there.
He's coming up.
If we can give them a good example, you know what I mean? Then the world's their oyster. You can get as big as you want to be, man. You can be as big as you want to be. I mean, look at Dons. You know what I mean? Crazy, ridiculous. You know what I mean? Just going from strength to strength. You know, Lambert 4 stars going from strength to strength. So you can be as big as you want to be. Yeah. And I mean, remember, everyone's got jobs. So, you know what I mean? And got families and stuff. So, you got to take that into consideration as well. Come home from work, you got to get onto the computer. You've got, family stuff. So, but you can be as big as you want to be, Yeah. But first comes the stuff on the pitch. If that's
you don't lose the focus, Paul. Never lose that focus.
If that's not working, there's no point being on social media if the thing on the pitch isn't working.
Yeah.
And for yourself and Ray, I mean, again, playing 2 games in 24 hours, there must have been a lot of players in that red zone in terms of injuries or pulling, pulling muscles or whatnot. I mean, how important is it?
Strong as oxes, mate.
Really?
Strong as oxes. As I said, most of them can play open age if they wanted to. You know what I mean? So they're strong as oxes. They'll have if they're going to do ice bath, they'll have an ice bath or a bit of cryo. You can go there. You can go to a cryo and do that for 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Pay a couple of pounds, do that for 3 minutes. So yeah, they'll be fine. Come Saturday, they'll be back on it again. I have no doubts about that.
And could you kind of give me the unsung hero in both games, please?
All of them.
Come on, you got to give me
the whole squad. The whole squad.
Come on, there must be one person,
Fabrice, did you play?
I didn't play.
No, he didn't play both.
Saturday nor Sunday?
No.
He's gone back to his normal self, Barry.
Oh boy.
Unsung hero today.
Fabrice, you let me down there.
I'm not going to name anybody.
He must have a good reason. Fabrice had a good reason why he weren't there.
Yeah.
What do you play, Fabrice?
I just couldn't get there.
Oh, it's bad. That's a bad reason.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lame reason.
Exactly.
What's that? What sort of reason is that?
I couldn't
Come on, Barry,
there.
tell him. What sort of reason is that?
Barry.
I'm looking for Nana as well. Where's Nana?
Barry, that's the reason why he'll be on the bench when he comes back.
Well, Fabrice, me and Fabrice have had that conversation.
That's the reason why he'll be on the bench.
Yeah.
Get a cushion, Fabrice. You'll be there for
that consistency. He's doing so well. I don't understand.
Might be a long, hard winter for him.
I know. Listen, I mean, again, there's been kind of things that happen in the background that are just out of my control. But I mean, again,
Fabrice is called the wife. Keep a happy home, young man. Keep a happy home.
Oh dear. But
I just want to say, I spoke to Ainsley earlier on.
Yeah.
And, things are starting to pick up for them, as we all knew it would. If the season started now, then it's a lot of new players, as he said, getting their mindset into the direction that he wants to put them. But yeah, it was a good result today. Points, small steps, as I said to him, small steps, and they'll get there. He knows that they will get there. So congrats to Catford. They're moving in the right direction.
Well, I mean, there's like still more than is it 11 games to play or something, So
they're moving in the right direction.
We've only played 7 games. And again, it's I can always say that this like league is like one of the competitive leagues around. And like the players that are now joining, this like league now like know what it takes. It's kind of not walking football. Like the players, as you said, rightly said, Paul, can still play open age, and like some of them like still like playing a Saturday and a Sunday, and like still train Tuesday, Wednesday. So again, like nothing is set in concrete. There's there's like always going to be a team literally coming up, and independent, Santos, Blackheath, Catford, all of us have to be like wary, because again, if you can lose that focus, then you can lose a couple of games. And
that's why you just take one game at a time, man. You just take one game at a time. Simple as that. One game at a time.
Yeah. Coach Barry, do you want to talk about what's been happening with the youth setup?
Yeah, the under 16s are still unbeaten all season. We had a lot of injuries this weekend, and we had to play with 10 men. And we played League Cup, second round of the League Cup, and they won with 10 men, 10-0.
Wow.
So next week we go to the under 16s go to the London Cup final, London Cup quarterfinals. We're playing away to Stoke Newington, which is a very strong side. So we're going over there to try and keep our clean record, try and knock Stoke Newington out of the cup.
Nice.
Jamal's really frail about us. He gave us Welling in the first one, and now we've got another one of the best teams over North, Stoke Newington.
Okay.
The under 10s, they're unbeaten season now. They've got some new members. A couple of boys from the under 10s have been picked for. Now, one of them, the captain's been picked for Kent, so we're missing him weekend. But they had a great game on Saturday. They won 11-1, so they're a strong side. And the under 13s game was cancelled, and the under 12 game was cancelled. But all the sides seem to be doing very well. It's just trying to keep players. That's the problem we've got at the moment. Can we hang on to these players, young players? That's the problem we've got.
Yeah.
So the youth side's really going well. 4 squads, 4 very good squads. But we are looking for players for the under 13s. What seems to be, we've lost a couple there, which is always going to happen to a club like us. We're always going to be losing players, especially at youth level. But everything's going well. The whole club's doing really well.
Yeah.
We should have Don, because I don't know what's happening with Don's team, so I don't really know what's happening.
I will probably for next week's episode, I will try and get someone from the open age team on the show. And actually, Paul, I think we've got some disgruntled people in the comments.
What's happened?
I think we have someone called Nels and One-Way. I don't know who these people are, saying something about, I don't know, stats and 6-2. And
Okay. Dash scored a hat trick on Saturday. And scored a hat trick today as well.
How much goals has Dash got now?
He's, I don't know, about 1 million.
It's incredible, that guy.
About 1 million goals. Yeah, he's ridiculous. Yeah.
What have you done? What have you guys done to Dash? Or what have you promised him? Is Dash a promise?
You got to keep the levels up, Barry, in that squad.
Jeez.
You got to keep the levels up, man. And the guy's on fire. Can't. Nels is playing great. Yeah. Nels, you're a great player. Great player. There you go.
Yeah, what about the defense? What about the defense, Paul?
Defense are playing. No, the whole squad are playing well. The whole squad.
Oh, cool. Have we got a keeper? Because the keeper's injured. Did we have a keeper?
Yes, we did.
Oh, we did have. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mel will be back in the new year, so that'll be fine.
I should know Tabrice never play, because he never talk about no football this week. Yeah. I should have known. You didn't mention, did he, Baz? He ain't mentioned nothing to do with him playing this week.
You know what?
Nothing.
I am a team player, and again, you know exactly what like Paul said. You know, if you kind of miss a game, and you know,
2 games, you mean back to back?
If you miss 2 games back to back,
That's right, man.
then yeah, like you're like places under threat. But you know, hey, I'm kind of big enough and kind of like man enough to actually know exactly what I've got to do, and if called upon, I will be ready.
Tell that to Paul and Raymond. You need to tell them.
Talk is
Paul is ready.
Talk is
Oh, dear me. Oh gosh. But no, thank you, Paul, for like coming on. And yep, next week we have Redbridge away in the London Cup, second round.
Good team. Yeah, should be a good game.
Should be a really, really, really good game. And again, I kind of wish everyone within.
Well, where is the game? Did you guys say where the game is? Where is this?
Redbridge.
It's in Redbridge.
At their ground.
Oh, it's in Redbridge. Okay.
Yeah. So again, you know, I guess we have to just take one game at a time. Unless I know that's a cliche.
No, that's all you can do. One game at a time.
Yeah.
One game at a time.
So yeah.
Make sure you're there, Tabriz.
Coach Barry, man. What's this?
Yes, Barry. Yeah.
You're needed. Coach Tabriz, you're needed. We need you there.
Yeah, I will try my hardest.
Oh, that's not a yes. It's not a yes.
So yeah, I think that's
Damn.
it. I think you know everything's done. Honestly, thank you so much. It's been a 2.5-hour show. I want to thank John from the Sunday League, the Barnet Sunday League. I want to thank Mark Wilson, the kind of Wanderers, who's kind of literally part of Wanderers. Justin Price, founder of South Tampa, and Black Klopp, part of the management at Independent Vets. And again, to you, Coach. Again, thank you for like coming on. And again, Barry from the Ultimate Sports Network. Please, guys, when I say you have to go onto his network, trust me, every single Monday, please promise me this. Even if you don't want to interact with like anyone in the group, that's fine. But just come on every single Monday from 9 o'clock. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Anything goes in there. And again, you know, it's all football people. There, you know, there's like no right or wrong answers. And again, people are just speaking their mind. So yeah, I think that's about it. Unless anyone's got any other announcements that they want to make. No. Cool. Great stuff. Okay. Well, thank you to everyone that's been watching. My name is Tabriz, the best grassroots centre back that you will ever see. Yes, I've gone back to my original statement because you know, Coach Barry has been throwing me underneath a bus. So guys, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And Ash, no. Sorry, I've done something wrong. I've not told you guys what's going on for next week. Apologies. Next week's show. So the first guest is David Gregory, and literally he'll be talking about how to make and invest money as a grassroots player. And again, you know, and like this is kind of something that anyone can actually do. It doesn't matter how much money that you've got to invest, just kind of, you know, some kind of very smart ways to literally put your money aside. And again, this is kind of something for everyone. So we've got David coming on next week, and also next week we have John Salako coming on next week.
Oh, next week, okay.
So we've got John Salako coming on next week to again kind of talking about Mr. Salako, talking about, of course, his journey as a kind of pro player, the ups and downs, So
He'll
yeah,
have some stories, man.
He
He'll have
will-
some stories.
he will literally definitely this D-Tech Titus Bramble. Jesus, jeez. Thank you, John. You now like I kind of know that this is just not gonna go now. This is, but guys, honestly, thank you for like watching. Thank you for all of your support. Honestly, like without you guys, I wouldn't have a show. Yeah, we kind of move on, and next week Sunday, start from 8 o'clock live. We'll be on air. Thank you guys for watching.